This is the flagship station of the world champion Boston Celtics. WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots will fly to San Francisco late this afternoon and then play the 49ers late on Sunday. Getting ready for this game, offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt has lost more than a little sleep trying to figure out how to stop top pass rusher Nick Bosa.
Yes, nightmare. Great player, generational player. Speed, power, all of it. Definitely an issue and definitely a concern regarding, we have to make sure that we don't let him ruin the game for us because he is that type of rusher.
Bosa was the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year in 2022. He has 46.5 sacks in his last 53 games. Yesterday, the Patriots are missing 3 players at practice, including offensive lineman Verdarian Lowe and Michael Jordan, and defensive back Alex Austin. Week 4 of the NFL season began last night at MetLife Stadium. Dallas beat the New York Giants 20-15. Bruins are 1-2 in preseason play after a 5-2 loss to the Rangers at Madison Square Garden last night. Brett Harrison and Mark Kastelik each scored once in the loss. The Bruins play in Philadelphia against the Flyers tomorrow night. Red Sox had last night off. They now have just 3 games left. They open up a season-ending 3-game series with Tampa Bay at Fenway Park tonight. And a judge in the Dominican Republic ruled yesterday Tampa Bay shortstop Wander Franco will have to stand trial on a charge he sexually abused a minor. He's been on Major League Baseball's restricted list since the middle of the summer. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Rapid Flow Sewer and Drain Cleaning. This season, the last thing you want at your bar or restaurant is a sewer backup on game day. So call 800-286-FLOW or visit rapidflowinc.com. With Rapid Flow, one call solves it all. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Fred, hello. Hello. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Loopity about with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah, oh yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch. It makes me feel like, na. Let me hear you say, we do this for you guys.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
I knew it, you knew it, but they ain't know it.
Yeah, it's going to be a long fall, my friend, but he'll have his money to catch him. I just can't wait until that podcast is a complete financial disaster. There has to be some out in it for the company. It can't just be straight up $100 million for the guy who's already losing his popularity. Taylor Swift wasn't at the game on, was it Sunday night or Monday night? And he's been terrible this season. There's a lot. There's pictures of him on the sidelines and all the tabloids of him with his fun mustache, looking sad. I don't know why I'm rooting so badly against him.
You seem to have hung on to this for a while.
No,
I haven't liked him ever.
I know, it's true.
And it's not since Taylor Swift.
No.
I don't like him ever.
Not liking him is a take that has aged well. The one that didn't age well, it's like, he's not that good. Now, he's obviously lost a step or two. He was really good.
No, he
for
was.
A long
Of course,
time.
he's one of the best tight ends in the history of the game.
Yeah, I don't think I ever said he wasn't good.
No. Not everybody thought so. Zoe is kind of like, he sucks.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I ever said he was bad at football. I just said he's old.
Yeah.
He's old. He doesn't seem... And, I mean, regardless of your level of fame, I don't think that it's like fun to not be good anymore. And I think he'll have a good career, doing like a little bit of movie stuff and being on TV, certainly about football. And I think that he'll have a good career doing that. It's just that people were banking on him being a huge star, and I just don't think that's going to happen.
Isn't it particularly delicious, though, to see him sad on the sideline during a win?
Yeah.
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 Like, I'm not a big star in this game. I don't know.
And people are like, Fred, you're jealous, and it's no, I'm not. I can swear to you, I wouldn't have played in the NFL for that long, and also I would have no desire to be with Taylor Swift, none. Like if I was famous and I like rubbed elbows with famous people, I would not want to date Taylor Swift. I wouldn't want to get caught up in that thing. Absolutely not. Well, he got $100 million out of it, I know, but he has probably $100 million anyway, and I don't need that. And also, it's going to be embarrassing when that podcast fails. Him and his brother, who no one's going to care about. Go ahead.
Who's going to have a better post-football career, him or Gronk?
Him by far. He's not dumb. Like he's a corny and culture vulture, but he is. He's not dumb.
He'll host game shows and do the the primetime game shows and stuff now, and he'll
have those. You were talking about cameo roles in movies. Remember when Gronk retired? We sat in here and argued. Okay, is he going to be an actor? What's he going to do?
Did someone? And I'm not being cute. Did someone think he'd actually be an actor?
Oh, a lot of people thought he was going to make more money post football,
right,
than he made.
He's going to be a wrestler.
Did anyone?
I had vicious arguments with Zoe and Beetle about this. I'm like, you guys, he is now. If you're really truly done, that's fine. Which he wasn't, by the way, the first time he retired. I said he needs to be real careful because nothing will approach what he's attained on the football field. And this idea that he wants to do more, he wants to do this. Is it not enough to be the greatest tight end to ever play the game of football? Like I would say the same thing for Tom Brady. Is that not enough to be one of the greatest football players, period, and maybe the greatest, winner of all time? No, now I got to go win at this too. Oh, do you? Because you haven't accomplished enough?
That's all I know.
If you can find him on the pyramid, there's supercuts of him on the show The Pyramid, like whatever it is now, $20,000, $100,000 pyramid.
Gronk, you're talking about.
Gronk. Yeah. And he's on there, and he's not trying to be funny. You think that he got brain damage playing football. Like he's that dumb. Like he's not cute dumb. Like dumb, like embarrassingly dumb. Like no one's laughing.
Yeah.
Like it's not funny.
But I also think he has found, his calling, and I hope he's happy because he does seem like a good guy.
Sure.
It's just I think his calling is just to be the professional ambassador.
I agree.
To show up at Wallach, how was he at the marathon? As the Grand Marshal.
He was fine, but it was a little uneasy watching him kind of answer questions. I remember when he started running, he went to the start line, and Hardy and I were right up the road from the start line. We could see it from here. And I remember me telling you, Gronk, they fired a fake pistol, and Gronk ran down the marathon route to pretend like he was starting the marathon. He ran the wrong way.
Okay.
He went the opposite direction of the direction you were supposed to go.
Let me tell you, Fred. Wallach is wrong.
No, I'm not.
He's not. He wasn't fine. He was perfect for that job.
Okay.
He got people excited about something and got a few laughs out of it and did his thing. He was the perfect ambassador for something like that. I really got to work here for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And everyone's going to be excited to see me. And I'm going to raise the excitement level, not only by my presence, but what I do and say. Boom. Now on to the next thing. I got something next month.
Well, no, it actually, since we're talking about that day, it's time for you to take a bow because he talked with us and he was going to throw the first pitch at Fenway that day. The next thing was him going to Fenway to throw the first pitch before the annual 11 a.m. game. And Hardy was the one who told him, you know what you should do? You should spike the baseball.
Yeah, he was.
And he did that.
Well, he said he was going to try and like one hop it into the catcher's mitt, and make it look like a spike. And I said, don't throw the ball at all.
Yeah.
Just spike the ball into the mound, which he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what he's good at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep doing that. That's great.
Yeah, it requires no mental capabilities. Just
Now let me ask you this, Fred.
spike stuff.
If the Kelsey Brothers podcast fails,
Okay,
when
Yeah.
when the Kelsey Brothers podcast fails, will we even know? Like, will
I'll
it?
keep
It's
an eye-
not.
no.
It's not the same thing as a TV show being
or a
canceled.
radio show being canceled.
Yes.
We will know because I will keep my eye on it. We will know. The public won't know.
The public will find out about 6 months
We will be
afterwards.
here to tell you.
It's going to be just like it because these places make these mistakes all the time, and you think that they'd be smarter, but they're even dumber than radio companies. Because the podcast companies don't even have people with any experience because podcasting is relatively new. First of all, the shot of your show, your podcast taking off and making that kind of money is what? 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 to 1, 1 million to 1, maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe 1 million to 1. Your chance of a radio show getting syndicated and being a success are better odds than that. But it's the same thing. I mean, these are the same people that said, okay, Howard Stern, arguably the most popular radio broadcaster of all time, is retiring. Let's bring in someone who's never done radio and put him on. And they failed immediately, and everyone knew that. This is the same people that said, Whoopi Goldberg's famous. Let's put her on the radio. And give her a bunch of markets. And that was a huge failure. I mean, these people, you can think locally. There's just bad ideas, like huge bad ideas that everyone knows a bad idea, and they go ahead and do it, and then it's a failure. And so that's the thing, is that it's just interesting to me that there's people with that kind of money just pumping out like terrible, terrible ideas. Because everything else is lightning in a bottle. Like everything that took off is lightning in a bottle. Joe Rogan was influenced by Anthony Cumia from Opie and Anthony's Compound show, which is no huge success. He probably makes money, but I think he'd even tell you it didn't take over the world. And in Rogan's show was lightning in a bottle and just happened to take off. Mark Maron was the first guy and started doing interviews, and
That's
first
the
with that
one I ever
format.
listened to is Mark Maron.
And he created that like long form interview format, so that took off. I don't think the smartless guys like the gay guy from Will and Grace and the kid from Silver Spoons and the guy that was married to Amy Poehler all thought that they were going to get together in a room and end up having this juggernaut podcast.
Sean Hayes, Will Arnett, Jason Bateman. I will not sit here while you marginalize them. I won't.
I could have told you Jason Bateman's name, but the other two I'm not positive. I certainly couldn't have told you the gay guy from Will and Grace. He's not even famous. But that's legitimately like a very popular podcast. And then they ended up going to satellite radio, and Lord knows the amount of money they got for that. And then the other one is that Who's Your Daddy the Part of My Take is a huge podcast, and they were revolutionary, and that was like the first of their kind, and it had the Barstool backing which at the time especially was very valuable. And then the Who's Your Daddy, which is the Barstool thing too. And that was lightning in a bottle.
Call Her Daddy.
Call Her Daddy.
Yeah, that's the new one.
That's not new though, John. It's been around for a very long time. In fact, there's been silver incarnations of it, and it was very successful. It's not new. It just got a huge deal. There you go.
It's an offshoot of the podcast "Damn You, Daddy, Sir," which was what was the guy's name? Jackie Rogers Jr. podcast.
And that is improvisation. Dan, go ahead.
With the technology age we're in and all these podcasts and these long form, like you're saying, you can't hide charisma anymore. So, like, my best example of that is back in the day watching Michael Strahan. No idea, nothing, didn't know anything about him. All of a sudden he's on a morning show and I'm like, huh? And my wife's like, oh, he's incredible.
Yeah.
And everything you hear about anybody that's ever talked to him is like, he just takes over a room. He's incredible. You can't hide it anymore. We've heard all these people talk. Oh, Tom Brady's going to be awesome. Okay. Bill Belichick's going to be great. Okay. It's like, no, I've heard all these people. You can figure out people's personality pretty quick now because they talk so much on podcasts, radio, interviews. So I just don't think you can hide it. You know. And, yeah, it's going to be Kelsey's going to be terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
and they're banking on him being a big star because Jason Kelsey's never going to be a big star, and they're banking on Travis being a huge star, and he's just not. He's not going to be. I think he's already been as famous as he's going to be.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah,
I mean, now he's started dating Taylor Swift. He got the kick from that. He's his top years are behind him in the NFL. I mean, he's crested. He's crested the peak of that wave, and there's nowhere to go but down from here. So now, if you look at it, you can look at it from the outside and say he's desperately trying to extend that window, keep that window open a little bit more by doing a lot of different things. Maybe there is a game show this next summer.
No, he'll be good at that, and I don't think he's going to fail post football at all. I do think he's charismatic.
But he won't be.
But yeah, he's not going to be. He's not going to be $100 million guy that people seek out, right? Like if you put him on a pregame show, people might tune in because they like football, and he's there, and they like him better than who's.
But
on
he'll
the
have
network.
the Gronk role. He'll be at the end of the desk. He'll never be the guy sitting in the middle.
Yeah, probably, but at least that's like football. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about him and his brother talking in a room. That's not going to be something that makes money. It's just not going to be because they're banking. Because it's not even about what they do. Do you understand? Yeah. It's not like people are like, "Wow, this is great." It's like, "Wow, they're really famous." You see, and that's just not sustainable. If it was this great thing and people were churning out content from them and going, can you believe what he just said? If he was controversial or funny, then I would be like, oh, and he was like saying all this, like controversial stuff that half the population agreed with and half didn't. That's a recipe for success. If you're really funny, that's too. Those are the two ways. Go ahead.
The other part of this is that after he's done playing football, he's going to be famous for being famous. You know what I mean? There's no substance there. He's just, okay, you're not a football player. You're not an actor. You're not very talented in that regard outside of football, but you're famous because you became famous, if you understand what I'm saying.
I do, but I think that he's a little more charismatic and he's certainly smarter than Gronk, and I think he does have some innate charisma. So I think that you're a little more harsh on him succeeding post football. Like I think he'll have a broadcasting career post football. I'm more hyper focused on the idea that a lot of people are just going to want to hear him talk about the world, like just talk, like what are you doing today? I don't know. I have a choice of a million things. Let's hear what Travis Kelce has to say about nothing.
Have you seen some of the clips of that podcast
that
they post online? I have. And it's his wife, who's perfectly fine. His wife talking about how she met Travis. It's, Travis talking
or Jason,
to the kids.
rather.
I'm sorry. Jason's wife talking about how she met Travis, and it's a family thing. They bring Jason's daughters in to talk to Uncle Travie, but it's not hard hitting. They're trying to be light. They're trying to be funny. They're not tackling current events. That's got to wear out after a few episodes, right?
Yeah, because you're also not, and then you can say like, well, the people on the radio do it, but but if you're on the radio 20 hours a week, and you're live and you're talking to people, it's almost. That's the thing about radio in particular is that you establish, like people believe that they know you in a lot of ways they do. Like if you're on the radio somewhere for a long time, like people get very, like they know all about you. It's like you're almost friends with them in a way. And you're just not going to get that from a pre-taped podcast from two brothers that airs once or twice a week. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
They have not, from all the highlights I've seen, they have not touched his relationship at all with Taylor Swift, which to me is infinitely more interesting.
Sure, and also infinitely not sustainable, because I have a feeling those kids aren't getting married. I can tell you that.
I mean, why do you got to be so negative?
I think you're being more negative than me, as a matter of fact, because I believe that he will have post-football success. I just don't think doing that. I didn't even get to Adolfo.
Oh, we got time.
Yeah. There's going to be because I got stuff. All right, we'll catch up with everything that happened last night, including there was Thursday night football and baseball. I like this wild card format. I got to tell you, I cannot deny that the wild card is everything that baseball's done over the last, I think what do you say, John? 15 years not involving moving a team.
Yeah.
Has pretty much worked, in my opinion.
The last few years with the rule change and the pitch clock and all that stuff, I mean, they're streamlining it. They're making it more exciting in September. I mean, baseball's doing the best they can.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good product. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Fred. Seldom right and never wrong.
Right here. Is that Dutcher or is that Hardy?
I know, looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Did you catch the game last night?
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, it's exciting. What happened last evening? You tell me.
There's another Bruins preseason game last night, and our pal Ryan Johnston is going to be joining us later on in the show. Of course, once again, was on the call.
Now a chance for Harrison moving toward his left. He scores! Brett Harrison found himself alone with the puck, got quick moving to his right, and slides it in to tie the game at 1.
Rex Harrison was one of the original Hollywood sweethearts. I one day was at Saudi's, and I said, Rex, you'll be the death of me. And he said, you'll be 6 feet under, and I'll be dead.
You could get a table at Sardi's?
I was part of the Broadway 5. I don't know. Now I'm just saying stuff.
In New York last night, taking on the Rangers. Just heard the
New York.
Just heard the equalizer scored there early on in the contest.
We used to call Noel Friedman the equalizer. He was the best agent in Broadway. All right, I'll stop.
The Rangers, though, kind of had their way with the Bruins last night. It was much later when the Bruins showed a little bit more life.
Wotherspoon at the hash mark. Gives to Koepke back to the blue line. Now thrown to the net, and they score! Bavaro threw that one into traffic. Looked like it changed direction. Bruins cut it back to a 4-2 game.
Yeah, another more dangerous than a 2-goal lead. Yeah, except when the Rangers score again and end up winning 5-2. Yes, John.
Should we be worried about Jeremy Swayman yet?
Okay, so you heard what McGuire? Who's the guy from the TSN, the big hockey insider?
Traeger?
No, yeah, you're right about that, but it's the other
Friedman.
It's
Pierre.
Pierre
McGuire.
I think it's Pierre McGuire.
Okay.
He was saying he thinks this will be done, like right before opening night, and then I've heard like some people talking about not like no one with the team about Sweeney trading him and just being like, all right, we believe Allmark was not a very good, not a great goaltender when he came here. Maybe that's why maybe other than just picking up the contract, that's why they got a goaltender in that trade, and what you could get for Swayman and just cutting your losses, because do you want your goaltender to take up that kind of cap space? Like, if they gave him what he wanted to with a hard cap, do you want your goaltender to make that kind of money? And then you run down the list of recent champions and who was their goaltender, and you can make the argument that the goaltender is not necessarily one of the most important people on a championship team.
I disagree, especially when you get to the playoffs. You have to have a talented goaltender. You think Tampa Bay's upset that they signed their goaltender to a long-term contract? That guy's been really good for a long time. He's one of the major reasons Tampa Bay's been really good for a long time. I look at this team, and if you are a franchise, any franchise wants a sure shot number one goaltender, and the Bruins have one. Jeremy Swayman is that guy, and they have cap space to sign him. I think it would be ridiculous to trade him at this point. Yes, you've backed yourself into a corner. This is a bet you made. You have to lie in it, but you got to sign this guy. And if it makes you a little uncomfortable, then it makes you a little uncomfortable. I'm not saying $10 million worth, but we keep hearing over and over again online, 8 for 8.5. He is young. He's in his mid-20s. Sign this guy, and then you don't have to worry about it. I mean, you'll be chasing a guy like him for the rest of the time he's a pro if you don't re-sign him. Younes Korpisalo was the worst goaltender in the National Hockey League last year. Now, granted, he played for a bad team, but still, the talent drop-off will be significant regardless of how good your defense is.
All right, let's see who played goaltender for the last the last championships. All right, when do you want to start?
Well, Florida. Let's start with Florida last year.
No, we're going to go in reverse order, dum-dum, or chronological order the other way. What year?
2019.
All right, let's go 2000.
Well, we know who played in 19.
Let's go to 2019, shall we?
Binnington.
Yeah, Binnington.
Binnington's right. Binnington's.
Was Binnington a good? Was Binnington the reason?
He was fine, but it was the defense in front of him. It was that big.
Binnington also was really, really good for about 2 years in there.
Okay, I mean, but he wasn't a big time expensive goaltender. Okay, then Vasilevsky obviously is good. Vasilevsky, Darcy,
Kemper.
There was 2 goalies that played for Colorado, so obviously that's not why they won. Then the Golden Knights, Adin Hill.
Yes, Adin Hill, journeyman.
All right,
and they were on their third goaltender in 7 years of the 7-year existence.
So it's about. So to be honest, it's 50-50. It's Tampa Bay, and then it's everyone else that won the cup.
It also has to do with roster construction, Fred. I mean, I think if you looked at those rosters, they were loaded up front. They were able to score goals. This team is not loaded.
Okay, but the thing is, John, but that's the reason. Do you use up that much of your cap on a goaltender, because then it's less likely you're going to be able to load up your lineup. And that's the thing.
I think if you can't score goals the way, if you don't have a deep pool of talented forwards, you need to make sure the defensive area is taken care of. And you need a good goaltender to do that.
Okay, I think in the regular season, that's how you win a ton of games. You get goal scorers. You got guys out there who can score at will and pepper the net, and whether it's, Pasternak or Marchand, just making magic all year. But in the postseason, everything tightens up. You need a good goaltender, and you need great defensemen. That's what wins in the playoffs. And the premium top tier true goal scorers. It's not like they wither up and fade away in the postseason, but their games get neutralized a bit because just like in basketball, just like in other sports. Oh, now if we play defense, that is the great equalizer. If we make it nasty for these guys, then they won't be highlight reel players.
We just went through it, and they didn't have elite goaltending, and also
I didn't say I said a good goaltender and great defenseman.
Right, and the Bruins had the best goaltending tandem in the league, and everyone kept going. Look at how great their goaltending is. Look at how great their goaltending is, and they've won 1 playoff series.
No, if there is a commonality. And there's tiny differences and some big differences every year in championship teams. But I would say the most common trait is nasty blue liners on teams that end up winning the cup.
Sure, I would agree. I think that defense is more important than goaltending. And you can have a goaltender. Would you say Tim Thomas is the reason? Because I could agree with you either way. Do you think Tim Thomas is the reason the Bruins won in 11?
Yes.
I tend to agree with you. But I've had the debate. I haven't really debated because I don't feel that strongly about it. But I've had people give me convincing arguments that this was a super deep and motivated team.
It was a deep, tough team.
Yeah. So I'm with you, John, in that I think Tim Thomas stood on his head, and that's how I remember it. But when people argue the other way, they're convincing. Like I can't in all certainty tell them that they're wrong.
And in those situations that you were talking about, Kemper played real well in the playoffs. Adin Hill played out of his mind in the playoffs.
But that's great. But the thing is that they weren't goaltenders that either at that point or at any or after became big time chunks of the salary cap.
I understand. But in this situation, the way the timing works, I think Jeremy Swayman is that guy. Having watched him now the last couple of years, I think Jeremy Swayman is that guy. And it's less of a roll of the dice to have, you know what, Korpisalo will get hot. Don't worry, our defense will be fine, and Korpisalo will get hot. I think Jeremy Swayman is good and can get hot in the playoffs and carry your team.
Okay, what if he won't move off $9 million a year?
Well, you don't have
the
cap
can't give him
room,
it, John.
Well, no. In that case, if he won't move off $9 million a year or $10 million a year, you don't have the cap space for it.
Yeah, you can't give it to him. You cannot give up $10 million of cap space in the NHL.
If the rumors are true and he wants $10 million a year and you don't have the cap space for it and it'll kill you in the next 2-3 seasons, then
so you
have
trade
to
him.
entertain him that. But the reports we're getting are that he is not that high, that he's lower than that.
All right, I just would be careful bashing the organization for not signing him because I would be hesitant to give a goaltender a significant portion of my cap
that's
space.
what he's asking. If he's asking $10 million a season where he hasn't done it,
$9 million too.
$9 million too. Whatever, $10 million a season, then no. Yeah. But lower than that, sure.
All right. What about 8.5? I'm not kidding. I'm not being cute. What about 8.5?
I think we're entering the area where I'd sign him to that.
I think 8 is my walk away number. 8. Give him 8.
7 makes him a top 5 paid goaltender in this league. We've done this exercise before.
At $8 million, he would be the third highest paid player on the Bruins.
Okay.
He would take up essentially 10% of their salary cap.
I look at Vasilevsky, and he's been money well spent for that franchise.
Yes, but that's one goaltender on one team.
I know that, but that's
who's the highest paid goaltender in the NFL? Is it Vasilevsky?
The Florida guy. Jeez, why can't I think of him?
Bobrovsky
makes 10, I think.
Okay.
Sergei Bobrovsky
makes $10 million.
I think
He's awful tall.
Bobrovsky makes a lot of money.
All right.
And they got a guy waiting to take over for him, Spencer Knight from BC.
7-year contract with a cap hit of $10 million per season.
Hachi-machi. Well, I bet you Swayman's asking for 9. I'll tell you this, is that I don't know if I want to give up $10 million of my cap or 10% of my cap space to a goaltender. But we shall see. I hope they keep Swayman. And also Swayman's a little bit got some balls on him because he's never succeeded.
His agent has something to do with this.
Yeah, I know.
His agent has a lot to do with this.
But he's really playing. He's playing it pretty weird because I'll tell you this: if they're offering him 8 and 8, and he's saying no, he's banking on his potential, just his potential, because he played well in the playoffs last year, but he played in 2 rounds of the playoffs. Like he has not proven himself, and he's never played an entire season. So as much as I like Swayman and I would like him over Ullmark, I could also just go, all right, screw you. And then what, do you want to get your rights traded to Ottawa and then deal with that nonsense? Go ahead.
The odds, the last 2 months has been really strange to me because Jeremy Swayman, whenever he's been asked, say, you know what, I'm confident we'll get things done. He was out at those captains' practices with the rest of his team. He hasn't turned his back on the franchise. I'm not showing up till it's finished. He seems to personally, when people have talked to him, he seems to have been, okay, I'm confident. I like the guys. I like hanging out with them. And then there's this. Then there's the hardline stance. And we've had radio silence now for the last couple of weeks. It just seems like he was acting one way and his agent got to him and said, don't do that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that look, I want everyone to make as much money as they can. But if I was Swayman, I'd be telling my agent, I have an agent. I mean, I would be going, all right, what if we don't sign with the Bruins and I'm a restricted free agent, what are the other options? Like what is the scenarios? Because the scenario of me going to, Toronto and them paying me $10 million is highly unlikely.
I've never been a full-time starting goaltender in this league, and you want me to make $10 million a year out of thin air?
Right, and
when
not
7 will make me top 5 in the league?
Exactly, and also I get to play in Boston where I'm comfortable, and it's a good franchise with a great fan base.
I'll be a god in this town if I'm any good.
And also I won't be playing in Canada, and he's from Alaska, and it's not, and I won't be playing in Canada.
Right.
Like, and I won't have to deal with that tax situation and all that. Yeah. Not like, Massachusetts, it's great. But people want to play for the Bruins. I know. Mm-hmm. But, again, so they sent him to Winnipeg. So you go to Winnipeg and you make 8-5. Congratulations, you're in Winnipeg making 8-5. You have a real chance to win a cup in Boston. And ask Marchand how that is. I'm telling you, let's not go crazy on the Bruins here, because they've got a point. They have a point, and we don't know what's going on. Because I don't believe for a second Sweeney hasn't talked to the agent in 3 weeks. That's nonsense. Nonsense. At least they might not have talked, but he's at least reached him. I mean, that might be splitting hairs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they've emailed or had someone talk to someone.
Yeah.
All right. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots visit San Francisco this Sunday. The starters on the left side of the offensive line injured. Verdarian Lowe and Michael Jordan missed their second straight practice yesterday, along with defensive back Alex Austin. The 49ers, by the way, had Deebo Samuel out on the field. He was listed as limited after missing Wednesday. Dallas beat the New York Giants last night 20-15. Bruins lost an exhibition game to the New York Rangers yesterday evening 5-2 in New York. Bruins will visit Philadelphia tomorrow night. And in baseball news, the Red Sox had their final night off of the season last night. They wrapped things up with a 3-game weekend series against Tampa Bay, and that begins this evening at Fenway Park. Sports Hub headlines are driven by the versatile Honda CR-V. Head to your local New England Honda dealers to learn more and see their lineup of Honda vehicles. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. Monday.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here, 98.5, The Sports Hub. We're back with Toucher and Hardy on 98.5, The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Be listening at 6:50 for your chance to score a pair of vouchers for the Friday session of Harpoon Brewery's 34th annual Oktoberfest live Oompa music, Stein hoisting competitions, pretzel eating contests, and more will be waiting for you at the largest festival of the year. Grab your tickets now at harpoonbrewery.com. We're having a spirited discussion about Bert Breer. He sent a text. You know, he's always late. And he sent a text at 6:42. He lives in Duxbury. And 6:42, and he goes, "It's happening again." And it's his app telling him how long, Apple, by the way, the Apple app, telling him how long it's going to take to get from Duxbury over to us. And it says it's 20 miles, 37 minutes. And he's like, and it's all blue. The line is just blue. It's all blue. It's all blue. When was the last time you in Boston, you got to your destination that was 20 miles away in 37 minutes? I told you guys it took me 45 minutes to get from Newton to Waltham yesterday to pick my son up from school. With minor stops and getting out of the car here and there, I was in the car for 4 hours yesterday. I probably traveled a total of 25 miles. And I was in the car for 4 hours yesterday. This is an insult.
I say you call Bert up right now and yell at him.
I'm not yelling at him because I want him to know, though, when the stakes are higher, this did not help your argument at all. This really hurt your argument. Like, so you're telling me that you're not going to average 60 miles an hour getting here in the morning on a weekday morning? The hell's wrong with you?
Bert, know this. Stakes are high, and so am I. I got me a rock and roll band. It's a free-for-all. And if a house gets in my way, baby, I'm going to burn it down.
And when he evokes
you guys,
Nugent, you know he's serious.
Wow.
Is he worried because there's not a charge point? Because he has an electric vehicle now.
Oh, does he?
Oh, I didn't know he had changed. He has an electric car.
I think he's endorsing an electric car.
Oh, good for him.
Because I made the mistake of Adolfo and I walking out while he was babbling about it.
Oh.
And really uninteresting. And, I mean, my Lord, it's all blue. And by the way, he's like by Norwood now. I don't know.
So you drove Adolfo. Where'd you take him yesterday, Fred?
Oh. Yeah. I had Adolfo. Uh-huh. And I will tell you this about Adolfo, is that he's a man with a plan. I had Adolfo, and we got out of here, and I had the much talked about 11:30 call I had to get to. And then when we were driving home on 95, my daughter called, and she's like, "When are you getting me?" And I was like, "Oh, Jesus, they had an early day at school." And she'd gotten out at 11, and we hadn't left here because we saw management on the way out, and those are conversations, and then, you know, just light conversations, but they're conversations nonetheless. We had a meeting, a long meeting beforehand where we had Adolfo do some audio, so we were getting out of here so it's like 11:20 when my daughter calls, and she's like, "Are you coming?" And I'm like, "Oh, I got to get her." So we go and we get her, and we go to my ex-wife's house because my ex-wife was going to be on this phone call too, and she's laid up because she had this surgery. And so Adolfo comes into the house, and he's like, "I got to leave my bag somewhere." And I'm like, "Oh boy." So I go, "Stephanie,
leave it in the car."
I said, "No, I don't want it in my car." I said, "Stephanie, can Adolfo leave his bag here?" And she's like, "Sure." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Because she just wants company. She's not going anywhere because she's just laid up. Because I'm like, "You'll definitely be here, and I'll be driving around." Because my daughter had a doctor's appointment. So, was
he getting picked up?
Well, I'll tell you this then I had a conference call with my ex-wife and I, and who we were talking to, and we had the person on speakerphone, and my daughter and her friend and Adolfo were in the house. And so I said, "Hey, and Adolfo was making all kinds of noise, not my daughter and her friend. And because they had the wherewithal to go, oh, you're on the phone. And so I go, can you go in another room? Adolfo leads them 5 feet away into a dining room there's no wall or partition separated.
Remember the open floor plan.
Yeah, it's an open floor plan. So he's in there, and we're talking. And you know how when you're on speakerphone and someone on your end talks and it mutes like the speaker, like you Adolfo's so loud he's muting the speaker. And I go into the other room and I'm like, dude, you gotta quiet down. And to fairness to Adolfo, he did. And then he had a lot of he's scoping out businesses. He wants to move back, I think.
Here you go.
He was being very he had a lot to say. It was very enjoyable. And then I dropped him off at the train, and he goes, so you want to do something? Like, you want to hang out? And I'm like, yeah, let's hang out for sure. And he's like, okay, well, I can't do anything tonight, and I can't do anything Friday night, and I'm like busy Saturday during the day. And so I'm like, all right, dude. I'll see you the next time.
See you next time.
See you next time they fly in.
He wanted you to take care of the one block he had empty?
It didn't sound like he really wanted to hang out, just like the day that he was here that Wednesday. And I'm like,
when you want to have
Tuesday.
dinner.
And I'm like, do you want to have dinner? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, Adolfo, do you want to have dinner? And he's like, no. And I'm like, do you have something else you want to do? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't care. But I will not be made to feel guilty if I don't see Adolfo again before he leaves Sunday morning.
No, you saw him like 3 times.
I was convinced he was still going to be with you. I almost texted you at 5 yesterday to be like, is Adolfo still with you? But I didn't because I wanted to be pleasantly surprised if you showed up with him this morning.
But I will give Adolfo credit. So he's staying out where the marathon starts. And so I was like, oh, boy, here we go. And I dropped him off at the train. So I'm like, we'll see what happens. And, I'm running around in the car for 4 hours. And during that time, I was talking to Stephanie, and she was like, I go, she's like, Adolfo came back and got his bag. And I went, oh. I said, he did? This guy in his 30s, by the way. I'm like, he did? And she's like, yeah. And I go, did someone drive him? And she's like, yeah, his friend drove him. And I was like, Hachi Machi.
All right, good.
Adolfo Gonzalez.
All grown up.
All grown up, and he's all grown up. Because I thought that bag was going to be a whole situation.
Yeah, well, we'll have something Adolfo-related for you at 8 this morning.
Yeah.
So that'll be worth it. Very quickly, Cowboys-Giants game last night. If you like penalties, this was a game for you. There's flags everywhere. Turned it off at halftime. I can't do this. Giants ended up covering, though. 5.5-point dogs. Cowboys get the win 2015.
Did they kick 5 consecutive field goals in that game?
Yeah, Giants kicked 5 field goals in that game.
But were they in consecutive order? I thought I had heard that this morning. I watched the first quarter. I don't have any obligation to watch that game.
No, there was 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and then 1 each in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, I have I felt no obligation to watch that boredom.
They couldn't get anything done in the red zone, obviously. But the real story yesterday,
this is what makes it a clean 5-zip sweep. No one loves this theater more than Keegan Bradley, who yearned to get back here, and he has proven that he's more than worthy to be that captain's pick.
President's Cup yesterday, the U.S. takes all 5 of their matches. It's pretty much over. Now, I watched a lot of it yesterday, but... and
isn't that the reward of doing this job? You hate getting up in the morning, but, when you're home and you can watch our boys in the red, white, and blue take on the
Scotty
commies.
Scheffler and Russell Henley winning 3-2 over Tom Kim and Sung Jae Im. You bet. And there was a lot of jawing back and forth during that match.
Well, the pride's on the line. I mean, it's an international affair. A lot of people talk about the Olympics as being, but this is, there's a lot on the line.
Well,
they get executed. Some of these people from other countries.
It rarely happens in the U.S.
No, but like when when Saddam Hussein was in Iraq, when all the guys from Iraq would play, Saddam Hussein, his son, had him killed.
And I wouldn't want to be Christian Bezuidenhout going home to wherever the hell he's from after the way he played.
Now
yesterday.
that's just xenophobic and dismissive. You're gonna pretend to be a fan of the President's Cup, and you don't even know where Lederhosen von Fluffenstein's from.
I am a fan. That's why I'll be watching Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele take on Hideki Matsuyama and Sungjae Im at 1:05 this afternoon.
Sungjae Im. I wonder if he's going to wear his brown trousers.
Quick, Hardy. How many points do you need to win?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably like the Ryder Cup.
That's the fun.
14 and a half.
That's the fun, is you never know when it ends.
You're up 5-0, but it could be on the way to 25.
No, when you sweep any day.
I mean, come on, John. I mean, when you sweep any day, Jesus, are you stupid?
15 and a half points to win the President's Cup. 15 and a half.
Okay. And that half is a bitch because sometimes you'll be hanging out with 15 and you'll be like,
Cruising's
did we
a
win?
bitch now, baby.
And we're like, did we win? And then they're like, not so fast. Yeah.
I'm happy for you, Hardy. Great.
You know who's caller number 10, the contest line, 617-931-0985 will win a pair of vouchers for Friday's session of the Harpoon Brewery's 34th annual Oktoberfest live Oompa music, which they're playing at the President's Cup. Stein hoisting competitions, pretzel eating contests, which are also big thing at the Masters, is pretzel eating contest.
You know what I didn't expect? And I'll let you finish. It was the tournaments in Montreal. Beautiful up there. They're in short sleeves. It was sunny. Thought it would have been crappy up there by this time of year.
I think the gods give a little wink and a nod to.
I hadn't thought of it, but I think you're right.
Let these boys tickle the 18 in some nice weather.
Let them get out there and swing the wrenches and have the sun shining on their faces.
God's a fan, and more. And for every one of those, there's a national disaster, so we don't care about. And more
it's
will be
yin and yang.
I know. Let some other place where we don't know anyone get these
Yeah. Let Bridges wash out in Florida, but give them some good golfing weather up in Montreal.
I mean, they screwed the Mets and Braves. I just thought that was so funny. They're screwing the Mets and Braves. Yeah, but what about all the stuff falling down? And more will be waiting for you at their largest festival of the year. Grab your tickets now at harpoonbrewery.com. Bert Breer is in really what could be considered moderate traffic.
En route.
And we'll see when he gets here.
Tuncher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
The Honda Prologue, Civic Hybrid, Accord Hybrid, and CR-V Hybrid are redefining the future of electrifying performance.
kickoff to the final play. Your home of the pass. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots will practice one more time today and then fly to the West Coast to get ready for a road game against San Francisco that ranked high on the degree of difficulty scale. The team was without offensive linemen. Verdarian Lowe and Michael Jordan had practiced yesterday along with defensive back Alex Austin. 49ers had Deebo Samuel out at practice after he missed Wednesday with a sore hamstring. On Thursday Night Football, Dallas beat the New York Giants 20-15. Giants didn't score a touchdown in this game. They fell to 1-3. As for the Bruins, they lost to the New York Rangers yesterday evening 5-2 at Madison Square Garden. Jim Montgomery wasn't happy about it afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we were very physical. I didn't think there was much emotion in our group. I did think we started the game okay, and then we ended up 5-on-3, and I didn't think we responded well after that.
The Bruins have begun their preseason with 2 losses in 3 games. They play again tomorrow night in Philadelphia. In baseball news, the Red Sox had their final night off of the season last night. They played Tampa Bay at Fenway Park tonight. The Athletics said goodbye to the city of Oakland with a 3-2 win over Texas yesterday. The franchise with the worst home attendance in the league had over 46,000 fans show up to say goodbye. They will now move to Sacramento for at least the next 3 years. And on day 1 of the President's Cup, a big day for the U.S. team. They swept all 5 4-ball matches from the international squad. Sports Hub headlines are driven by the Albrecht Auto Group, Zoe's Auto Dealer. Get respected Albrecht with 7 locations and thousands of new and pre-owned vehicles. Get the right vehicle at the right price now at albrechtauto.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston Toll for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Boston, the greatest sports town in America.
We have a farm. I have about 200 pigs here.
We get to spill beers on each other without worrying about spilling beers on people.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Dutcher and Hardy, the reviews are in.
I got to say, I don't want to talk about you. Give me about 5 minutes of my time.
Hear what he said. Now, on the Sports Hub.
If you're going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers.
I mean, I understand why you're playing it.
Why? Why is this being played on the station that I'm on?
Because they're
hold on. Sorry. Who's going to San Francisco?
If it's because the Patriots are playing in San Francisco, it does not justify this. I feel like we almost owe our listeners damages.
Okay, so
for playing that noise, that horrible noise.
This is a midday show special.
No, it's even.
Yes, it is.
I would say this.
That's tonight.
12.
Yes.
I like because I've been very mean to 12 about his musical selections.
You have.
I like where your head is at. How about the Me First and the Gimme Gimmes version, which we all would enjoy?
See? That's a good point.
All right.
I'm learning and growing. Thank you, Hardy.
Adam knows all about the Me First.
That's
movement.
The Gimmes, as we call them.
Just the Me First movement.
No.
Oh.
Or Me Too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Hashtag Me First.
That's a new movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about old people in line at CVS. Me first.
But first, let's have a 30-minute conversation.
I'll tell you this, is that there is for whatever reason, a lot of old ladies in jeans walking around in the streets that don't dye their hair. Very slow movers.
In San Francisco?
No, in Newton.
Oh.
But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what they love. They love wearing gloves.
Yeah.
Like latex gloves.
Yep.
And they love farmers markets, and they love walking in the road. They wear very loose jeans and hiking shoes. They dress sort of like Adam. They wear very loose jeans and hiking shoes. They have tote bags and gray unkept hair, and they walk defiantly about 4 feet off the curb in the road.
Now let me ask you,
and they have a look of the look on their face can only be described as someone was witnessing you murdering their cat.
Now, are they always jeans or dungarees, or are they sometimes cargo pants?
No, it's
like olive drab colored cargo pants.
That the men sometimes wear those.
Okay.
With a nice worn knee. Yes. Sometimes the men wear those, but I can tell you.
Are there fleece vests?
Oh, there's a fleece vest. 90 degrees or 10 degrees, there's a fleece vest.
Well, the pockets are so.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a
Are
fleece
so good.
vest, and then you know there's trouble when they take to the trails of Cold Spring Park when they wander from the farm stands.
Yeah.
And they decide they can't resist the woods because they are very upset that you're there, just being there because they were trying to walk and enjoy the woods, and then you showed up, and then they let you know with their facial expressions and
They're drawn to the wilderness of the woods of Newton. It's the call of the mild. It's just I want to get out in nature, but not that much.
And not so mild. I got to wear my jeans. And then I was in Brookline yesterday where, again, I had to take my daughter to the doctor in Brookline, and I was reminded of the look of the people on Brookline's faces. Again, that they just watched a 17-car accident. Everything on their faces, just the disgust they have for you, just existing on the same planet as them. It's real. It's so hyper concentrated in Brookline and like Newton. It's just this look of just utter disgust. And that what are you walking on the sidewalk? I would like to walk on a sidewalk with no one else on it. And here you are walking around like you exist. I'm the only person. Now, please get away or I'm going to have to call the government.
Get the government involved.
Bert says can do an extra segment today. No.
Oh.
That doesn't, no. Get here at 7. I don't want you to do an extra segment. There's nothing to talk about.
We got stuff to do.
Machi,
8 o'clock, right?
We got an
We got plenty to talk about. Although I got to say I'm a little upset. I followed Kendra on the Malik Neighbors anytime touchdown last night, and even though he was concussed, had to leave the game, concussion protocol. I don't know if it's an actual concussion what they're reporting today.
Protocol, nothing more that I saw.
My side of the parlay, my idea, the Giants plus 5.5, that was fine. The Malik Neighbors anytime touchdown.
He did everything
cash.
but score.
I
That's
know,
the thing.
I know.
He had 12 receptions for 115 yards.
He did pretty well. I think he was only targeted 15
Daniel,
times, too.
you know who wasn't bad, despite the fact that they didn't score a touchdown? Daniel Jones.
Okay, I shouldn't do this because Bert doesn't deserve it, but I saw Bert from his basement on Amazon last night, and he was talking about, and since he's not here, I'll just talk for him. He was talking about how he wants the return of the white quarterback. No, he was talking about...
Now let's end the segment there.
Finally, don't we all?
Because they did this segment about how Strahan's doing a documentary about black quarterbacks, and then
here we go.
And then Bert was like, "Yeah." Bert rolled his eyes during the whole thing. But we all know that. But Bert was in seriousness. Bert was saying that Daniel Jones. They believed the game before last. The win, the Giants won the game before that. Or did they lose? They lost by scoring 3 touchdowns when they didn't have a kicker. It was against Philadelphia. He said that Daniel, or I can't remember.
They beat Cleveland.
Okay,
they beat Cleveland. They didn't beat Philadelphia.
They beat Cleveland. So he said that Daniel Jones, the team believed that was the best he had looked since 2022. So the belief in New York is that Daniel Jones, there's a chance.
Okay.
He certainly threw the ball a lot yesterday.
All right.
Well, and a lot of them were like, not quite garbage time, but a lot of heaves downfield. There was a Hail Mary, maybe even 2 of them that they were just trying to get something, trying to score a touchdown, which would have won the game had they been able to score one along with those 5 field goals. So that actually skewed the numbers a little bit, 29 of 40 for 281 yards.
Yeah.
And a pick.
Everything gets blown up in New York because everyone's from New York that covers the NFL and covers sports.
I thought he looked pretty good for the half of football that I could take. But my God, but between the actual penalties and the flags that were being picked up that weren't penalties, I can't watch it. The flow of the game sucks so bad, and it takes me 1 weekend of just loving that the NFL is back, and by the second weekend, it's the flow of the game where my mind starts to wander.
Well,
and unless
Thursday
it's a game I'm truly invested in, if it's a neutral game like it was last night, I'm like, man, I'm interested in it, and I like to see the good plays, but the actual product last night sucked so badly because of the officiating. I'm like, I can't do it. I'm going to bed.
Well, Thursday and Monday games are easy to turn off. That's when they really need to have something going. And unfortunately, Sunday and Monday are not always big affairs.
How much does Malik Neighbors make Daniel Jones look better? I think that's the question you need to be asking. If you're a New York Giants fan.
I don't know. I mean, how much did Garrett Wilson make Zach Wilson look better? I mean, there's really good young receivers on a lot of teams with the quarterback sucks. So, I mean, how is DeAndre Hopkins making Levis look? You know? And I know DeAndre Hopkins isn't Malik Neighbors now, but I mean, there's good receivers with bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair. And are you willing to bet? Say Daniel Jones, New York ends up with a bad record, cleans house, and then drafts a quarterback. Are you willing to bet that Daniel Jones doesn't have a degree of success with another team? That Daniel Jones is done being a starting quarterback in the NFL?
I've watched a lot of bad games with that guy.
All right. Well, I mean, did you think Geno Smith was going to be a highly paid starting quarterback for a playoff team?
No, I understand.
Did you think Sam Darnold was going to be one of the top quarterbacks for an undefeated team?
No, never.
I mean, I didn't think certainly Baker Mayfield was going to be the starting quarterback of a very marginal team that made the playoffs and almost beat the Lions in Detroit.
Well, he had some success in Cleveland. Didn't he go to the playoffs in Cleveland?
I thought he was a disaster in Cleveland. If he went to the playoffs, then
maybe I'm wrong. I seem to remember him going to the playoffs
I thought that
once.
Okay, maybe he did. I mean,
he had some. Now, was he a world beater? No.
I don't think he had much success in Cleveland, John. I don't think that's true. I don't think that it can be interpreted that Mayfield had success in Cleveland. Let me look.
Okay.
I mean, now I got to get to the computer. That's why we have computers.
I understand.
So we can get traffic reports that it's going to take. You're only going to average 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, during the COVID year, he went 11
all
and 5.
All right. COVID year.
Okay.
All right. So there you go.
11 and 5.
All right. We're counting the COVID year.
Yes, we are. We're counting it.
All right. Wait, during what season?
2020.
All right.
That was the COVID year.
Yeah, that was the COVID.
Went 11 and 5 and won a playoff game.
All right. And then what do you do the next year?
6 wins.
All right, in the year, and then he went to Carolina. So maybe Cleveland is who you're blaming. All right. Well, that was his third year. What is this? Daniel Jones's third year?
I believe so.
Okay.
I mean, it's at least 3.
All right, we'll see. All I know is that Baker Mayfield was left for dead, was considered a bust. And that can be evidenced by that he played for Carolina and now then Los Angeles, then Tampa Bay. That when you're on your 4th team, it's not like you've had a resounding career.
This is Jones's 6th season.
I was going to say 3 sounded light.
6.
This is Jones's 6th season?
I find that hard to believe, too. 6 years. He's 23, 39, and 1.
So he's just been like a mash unit. So he's just been hurt every single year.
I forgot that they signed. Don't forget they signed Daniel Jones to that massive contract. So of course he went beyond his rookie deal.
Yeah, because that was after they signed him the year prior to the rookie deal ending.
He hasn't been hurt an inordinate amount. Last year he was, but he's played over 10 games in the first 4 seasons.
Wow. Well, maybe Daniel Jones won't have success.
Giants going to have a hard time offloading that contract, too.
Oh, there's good news. Bert's 2 minutes away.
Oh, good.
All right. By the time we come back, he'll be here.
Excellent.
Yeah, so he's only going to be 25 minutes late to his appearance.
12, do we have a song that said you're late, that kind of thing?
You know what, Beasley? Get ready because you're about to save yourself half the money you owe him for today, which is only fair. Only fair. All right, we'll be back. Maybe with Bert, who has got it took him 37 minutes to go 20 miles. Can you believe it? That's almost unimaginable, that traffic. Boo. And by the way, 37 minutes, that means he was planning to get here at 6:50? Like, that doesn't make sense. 37 minutes, that was 6:50 ago.
No, I would say he probably thought it was going to take him 20 minutes to go the last 20 miles. It took him 37, and that's why he is at this moment 17 minutes late.
He was playing real fast and loose with time.
He's trying to show up on time. Not early, not late, but on time.
You know, if he left at 5:45, he could get here in no time, and then he would get here, and he might have to wait around for a little bit, but he would certainly be here.
Tough, he was working late last night.
Yeah, I mean, from his basement. I mean, that's tough news. Does he do post game?
I don't know. I wasn't up. I have no idea.
Who knows? Who would know that? All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Pre-game with Jim Murray and Chris Gasper begins at 1. Then at 4:50, Bob and Zoe bring you the game on the Safety Insurance 98.5, the Sports on Patriots Radio Network. From the opening kickoff to the final play. The Patriot, the 49ers, on your home for New England Patriots football all season long. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
In the office, in your car, in your footy pajamas, this is how Boston sports fans start their day.
I bet you're just jealous.
Dutcher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You asked. Oh.
All right, so that is Bert Breer's entry music. Bert
I like the
Breer.
cold ending too.
That worked well.
As if it couldn't be more awkward. That the cold ending.
Yeah.
Really
Don't fade in another song. There's no need to.
puts a nice underline.
Yeah,
on that.
yeah. When you're playing a clip, then you come in with the actual open, and then we talk over that. But we can do it this way too.
Hi, Bert.
Bert Breer is the senior NFL
Yeah, I
reporter
couldn't be angrier at people in general. And yeah.
Oh, nice.
and lead content strategist for MMQB. He joins us in studio. My friend Kevin says most listeners would get fired if they were late every day by 50% of their day.
Well, this was not like. I mean, this isn't. I'm not normally late this late. Like this.
No,
is,
but you're normally late.
You are normally late.
the last two. I've got a really brutal commute up here. Like
But you chose to live in Duxbury.
I did, but it wasn't that bad before. We've gone over this before. We don't need to do it again. But when we were at Morrissey Boulevard, it was fine.
Yeah, but it wasn't fine for anyone else. It was very bad.
Yeah,
Bert,
no one was happy to be there.
I was always on time, Morrissey Boulevard.
There were maybe 3 people who loved Morris.
Yeah, it was. Let's put it
Quincy and Beetle.
Very few people are going to go, you know what? I wish we were still in Dorchester.
In fact,
Very
I would
few
think
people.
no one would say
And it has nothing to do with even the quality of life in Dorchester, which I truly, I seriously believe. It's that is tucked into such a specific area, geographic area of Boston, that it's impossible for most people to get to.
I mean, the 4 people sitting here, like only 2 of us, I think, deal with 128, right?
Yeah,
which is just like
no, all of us deal with 128.
Well, no, you guys don't on the way in here, do you?
Yeah. 128, John does, I do, if I want.
Pike to 128?
Yeah, and then and Hardy does.
Mile and a half.
I get on the
That
road?
doesn't count.
Why doesn't that count?
Because you're talking about 20 miles
It's like
versus
walking.
a mile and
You
a
can
half.
All right,
walk
this is
that.
now Bert's making us late to get to the NFL. He's just late with everything. All right, listen, let's forgive Bert. Let's forgive.
Yeah.
Second chances.
I'm
third
going to
chances,
reevaluate things next week, I promise. But I was working till midnight last night, so
I saw you for the first time. You had a beautiful suit on.
thank you.
Did you have suit pants on?
No.
Yeah.
I wish I could have answered Fred's question. He said, does Bert do post game? I'm like, the post game on Thursday nights. Why don't you ask me how late the gym is open? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
The penalties pretty much scared all of us
No,
away.
I
Bert.
don't consume post game for Thursday
Oh.
night football. I can't do it.
Penalties were awful.
I mean, that was like a hockey level performance by the refs.
Yes,
like
it
that
was.
I can't even remember that ref's name, but he kind of like cuts a hockey figure, square jaw, and like definitely works out a lot. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
It was a gun show last night, but
he enjoys the camera.
Okay,
He thinks the camera likes him too.
Why is scoring down in the NFL? Kuiper came out and said he wanted to ban shell coverage,
Which
and
is,
what
like,
Kuiper says
ridiculous.
goes.
Yeah.
Well, it's Mel Kiper. You got to pay attention. But anyway, players have referenced Kuiper. But okay, so the league has done a ton, obviously, to protect quarterbacks and allow receivers to run free. What are you seeing and hearing? What is the difference between? What is the reason for the
football's a giant cat and mouse game, and if all you're looking for is guys throwing the ball and completing 80% of their passes and throwing for 350 yards and scoring 50 points a game, then this isn't like this year hasn't been what that is. But I think what one of the coolest things about the sport to me is that there's one thing that happens and then somebody else reacts and then somebody else reacts, right? Like, and so it's constant like catching up. I brought this up on the midday show yesterday. I had this conversation with Chip Kelly after he got fired by the Eagles when he got to UNLV or UCLA, and we were talking about what he learned from being in the NFL. And I had asked him about his impact on football and some of what I called the revolutionary things he did, right? And he stopped me and he said, don't use that word with football. He's like, it's not revolutionary, it's evolutionary. And he said, everything kind of moves in a circle in football.
You tell me you use whatever word you want to use.
Yeah. So one team does one thing and then another team reacts to it. So let's talk about the two high coverage, right? What's the logical response to that?
To run.
To run, right.
Yeah.
And look at the Cowboys coming into last night's game. What was their biggest problem?
They couldn't stop the
running
run.
the football.
I mean,
they couldn't stop the run.
The Ravens rushed for 500 yards on them last week. And I think what you're seeing now, and that game last night, it was interesting watching that game because aside from the penalties, the game went by really fast. I think the game was done in under 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the big reasons why is because the drives were 10, 12, 14 plays, chipping away, running the ball.
Clock running.
Yeah, and it's because defenses are playing this way.
So is what about
It's like the Patriots. I hate to say this, it's the Patriots style of football is being played across the NFL. Like the old Patriots style of football, which is basically we're going to try to force you to go 12 or 14 plays, and we're going to bet that you're going to make a mistake somewhere along the way.
We're going to tire out the defense and just war of attrition. What about the increased attention on the illegal procedure and the left tackle being forced up on the line of scrimmage? Is that impacting offenses and scoring?
Well, I think it does because it creates more long yardage situations, definitely, and it becomes harder to dig out of those. And, I think we saw a ton of that last night with the Giants and Cowboys where, all of a sudden you're in 2nd and 18 or you're in 3rd and 13.
I also, on about every third play, I say to myself, why aren't they calling it now? On certain camera angles, it looks like that left tackle is still cheating so far off the line.
But that's a result.
An inch or millimeters back.
That's a result of the college game. Because in the college game, if you look the way the spread offenses work, one of the reasons become hard to evaluate linemen is because they're never in three. Well, it's some of those offenses, they're never in 3-point stances, and they're always in a lot of cases they line up like that, and so it's sort of, hey, this is how they do it at the college level, so we're going to adapt, and then it becomes sort of this process of what can we get away with, and I don't know exactly who said something, but somebody said something about this becoming a huge advantage for the offense. So now they're cracking down on it.
It's funny because you could, and that's not
even
without merit though, because you could tell in that Kansas City their left tackle was the highest penalized guy in the NFL last year, I believe. Wasn't it the Kansas City
Donovan Smith last year? You mean
last year?
Yeah.
Because remember, Zolak was calling it out on Twitter. And I can't remember if it's Zolak probably was Zolak that got my attention on it, but you could visibly see that he was lined up. Yeah. It was weird. It was like a halo. They weren't, or like a semicircle. They weren't lined up straight. You could tell. So I don't think that was without merit. I mean, that's kind of up to the offenses to adjust.
Right.
I think more than the officiating.
And that's the thing is that's the thing that does bug me about it a little bit is and look, they don't need to appeal to us. They're going to have us watching football.
Sure.
They could put a pile of crap
They
on
they have a
TV.
pretty big safety net or a lot of rope before we start not watching.
Right.
They've pushed the envelope a lot and we're still there.
They want what they're looking for is the people who could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Right? The people who might watch or might not watch. And I think what their research shows is those people want scoring and passing and all the rest of it. But it just sort of bugs me this perception that that's good football.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rams Chiefs, which was a great game in 2018. That's what good football is. And if we're not getting that, then it's a crappy product, which is not true. I thought the USC Michigan game on Saturday was fascinating because it forced these two teams that play such different styles were there was so much strategy involved. And that to me is a great example of what good football is. It doesn't need to be a 7-on-7 drill. And yet when we don't get 54-51 and we don't have like the hair on the back of our neck standing up after a game, it's like, well, that was a horrible product. It's not always a horrible product when the offense is in favor. And I think in situations like this, it's like, were we all over people? Maybe people in this region were, but were we all over people like the refs when there was like an emphasis on, defensive pass interference or defensive holding the same way we are with this? No, because generally people are okay with rules that help the offense and then are upset when there's stuff that impedes the pace of a game.
And just to add to your point, I heard Gary Danielson talking about college football and that he's personally appealed to the SEC and said, you're going to lose your audience because college football, I believe, is averaging, like, their games are way longer than the NFL. I know the halftime's longer.
I think with college football, there's no governor over the commercials.
Yep.
And then the reviews are out of control.
Because Danielson was like, you got to get the reviews under control because you're in a position right because college football is in a position that it always hasn't been. It always has not been nationally this. College football is the second most popular sport in the country.
Yep.
And that's not always been the case. It has been regionally, but not nationally.
Yeah.
So
now I'd say it's like comfortably number 2.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Danielson's point was you're really pushing it. Like you're not like the NFL we just discussed where we're going to be there no matter what. He's like, you have viewership. And, he's national. He's probably the biggest, college football analyst, color guy in the country. He's like, you're really going to test this marginal audience that you've brought in because it's taking forever. Like, it's a bad product at this point. Yeah. And so the NFL, in fairness to them, it compared to the college game, it's flying. I got news for you.
The other thing that's tough in the college game is they changed the clock rules. Have you guys know about that?
No. Oh, yeah.
So after first, it used to be in college football that the clock would stop after every first down.
Yeah.
Which I think was kind of cool, like a cool difference. Like, and I'm not saying the NFL way is wrong, but it's just like kind of a cool nuanced difference where it made like comebacks more likely. If you were down by 3 touchdowns and you have that element of being able, the clock stops every time you get a first down. Well, then it starts when the ball is spotted. It gives you a little bit more space to come back in the fourth quarter of a game, which I think has always been kind of a cool difference between the two levels. And they took that outside of, I think, the last 4 minutes of each half, right? Like, so now the clock runs like it would in the NFL. And like the whole idea was like, okay, like, so we're going to try to improve pace of play. Yet you have even more commercials and you have even more reviews. And I think like what the effect is now is the games are still really long, but there's less football.
Right.
Where in college you had more plays than you would have in an NFL game because of those sorts of things. Now you're trying to get down to like the NFL level of plays, which isn't making the product better because you're getting less football, but they're jamming more commercials in there because the rights fees are out of control and because there's no governing body in college football that's saying, no, you can't do that. Like the NFL is saying to the networks, like, chill out with the commercials, or we have to get these games over in 3 hours, where there's no governing body in the NFL doing that. So it's just the networks doing whatever they want.
All right, let's take a break and come back with Bert. I want to know what coaches in the NFL are going to get fired.
Wow, it's only week 3 or week 4.
Well, if the Cowboys lost last night, you don't think we'd be talking about who's going to get fired? You should hear these Philadelphia fans. Hachi-machi.
I know. Philly's got a high bar.
Philly's football fans are really something else because they lay in wait. They're not like Giant fans that are just constantly moaning.
But Eagles
when they're
be better?
pissed,
I mean,
when the Eagles fans are pissed,
yes.
you think this vitriolic fan base? Ooh, no.
If we
Eagles
wanna,
are number one.
So the Eagles coach has made the playoffs 3 years in a row. Has been and was in the Super Bowl a year and a half ago, and he's in the hot seat.
They want him strung up.
Peterson got fired 2 years after he won the thing, right?
I mean, I would not want to own.
Right?
I would not want to own the Eagles. I don't care how much money it would make me. It's too tough here.
Chip Kelly went 10 wins, 5 wins fired.
Yeah. Right, but Peterson won the whole thing. And was gone
can you blame
ownership?
It's just ownership. Just everywhere you go, there's just maniacs yelling at you. You're probably like, whatever to get them to stop. You just get them to stop.
Yeah.
Get them to stop yelling. Get them to stop yelling.
Stop yelling for 2 weeks of the next season.
Yeah, like I have an acquaintance that just started doing, like a couple years ago, doing morning radio there. I got to talk to him. Like you're not from. I guess he is from there. I guess he is from Philadelphia, but he didn't live there for a long time. I want to know, like, how the hell, like you, like I don't think you could do the show in Philadelphia because people would be like, why are you not like stabbing someone? It's football, so you could do it in the summer, but I don't know if you could do it in the fall.
Gerard Mayo would be fired by now.
Oh sure, yeah, just because of the draft. Well, he wasn't involved in the draft. Doesn't matter. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. He's elongating.
Weekday mornings.
Here goes Hardy.
Dutcher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We got Bert Breer in studio from MMQB and Amazon, where he was on last night in a suit, and I was very proud of you.
Sorry for not dressing up this morning.
Do you feel a little silly putting a suit on and not leaving the house?
No, I'm used to that. Like, I don't know. I've been doing that for so long now, especially
Like Ward Cleaver?
Well,
It's
no,
just
it was
how
like,
you dress?
Well, no, in COVID, it like, you know,
Oh.
we had to do everything from home.
No.
I feel like it normalized a lot of those things. So it does not feel weird to like be wearing a pair of shorts and flip flops or whatever, and have a suit and or a jacket and shirt and tie on.
All right. Well, I was wrong last week when I said I wasn't that excited about the slate of weekend games because there ended up being some good games on Sunday.
That's usually the way it works out too.
Well, the ones that you're just not expecting, and teams that, you know, start to show you a little something by, you know, week 3 or whatever. So,
I mean, I don't know. Like, I thought Rams-Niners was really, really good.
Well, the way it ended was insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the way that the Rams did it without, you know, so much talent on the field. You know, they're missing their top 2 receivers, like all-pro receivers.
I thought Eagles-Saints was really interesting. I mean, you know, Ravens-Cowboys, like that actually wound up becoming entertaining in the end.
Let's talk Eagles-Saints. Okay, so Philadelphia won that game, but I did mention that the fan base is like going insane because they want Sirianni fired after that game.
Yep.
Pretty much, I have not heard a dissenting opinion on that from anyone from Philadelphia. You're familiar with what happened in the game? Like Sirianni's decision making?
Yeah.
Okay, can you kind of what are they so pissed about, and do they have a point?
Were they pissed about the decision making, like the going for it on 4th down?
Going for it trying to kick like a 60-yard field goal, like he did like a bunch of weird stuff during that game. I'll simplify it. Do you think?
I think I'm conflating the 2 weeks.
That's
too.
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Do you think Sirianni is a controversial coach in the way that he manages games?
I think a lot of that is. I'm not going to say the Eagles are run like a baseball team, but they're they've always been very like reliant on the numbers, and there's a belief in analytics in that organization, and you know, so and it's interesting because they've started to chip away at. I saw somebody tweet this the other day. Somebody said that the funniest thing about Nick Sirianni's press conferences is that in every one of them, there's some media member asking some form of the office space question. So what would you say you do here? And because like if you look at it, like so they hired Kellen Moore to run the offense. He has no background with Kellen Moore. They hired Vic Fangio to run the defense. He has no background with Vic Fangio. The like analytics people are very involved in decision making. It's, you know, it's just an interesting situation because when they went to the Super Bowl, that staff was really his, you know, and it was a bunch of guys who, it's going to sound corny, but like that team had a really good vibe. And the coaching staff was all a bunch of guys who were right around the same age. Like Shane Steichen's now the head coach of the Colts, and Jonathan Gannon's the head coach of the Cardinals, and all had kids around the same age and everything else. So it was like very much his team and his operation. And they have one bad year, and it's like, all right, we're ripping it all down, and we're going to bring in Vic Fangio, and we're going to bring in Kellen Moore. And those guys are really accomplished coordinators, but they haven't worked for him before. And so it's almost like, it's like what the Cowboys have sort of always done, which is where it like feels like you're subcontracting out pieces of the organization. And that's where I would say, like a lot of people point to Sirianni and point the finger at him. I'd say that decision making is, I think there's like a lot of people involved in those things.
What are you hearing about the quarterback situation in Miami?
So like they're still waiting for timelines on Tua. They didn't want to put one on him right away. Putting him on injured reserve was really about just taking the pressure off everybody and taking the pressure off of the coaches, taking the pressure off Tua, taking the pressure off the doctors so people could make smart, rational decisions. I know, the plan was to go see specialists this week. I'm not sure exactly where that's going to take them. Obviously, nobody knows until word comes back from the doctors. But until then, it was like, we're going to see where we go with Skylar Thompson. Obviously, he gets hurt on Sunday, so now they're going to Tim Boyle.
Are they, though?
But
I was reading the Miami Herald. They're thinking they're going to elevate Snoop Huntley off the practice squad and start him on Monday night.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to. I mean, you got Stoops sitting around.
So there's a lot going on there. I think Snoop. But part of this,
who is this person?
His nickname is Snoop
Huntley.
Huntley.
So Huntley, he used to play for the Ravens. He was Lamar's backup.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we are really assuming. Am I dumber than the audience?
No.
Did everyone know that reference?
No, but I'm going to call him Shoop in honor of Mark Harmon's character in Summer School.
Oh, I thought you were doing it in honor of TLC. You know who wanted to have sex with him? One of his students,
Courtney Thorne-Smith.
Yes, and he was like, "Get away! I want Kirstie Alley," and the joke's on him because Kirstie Alley ballooned up to be very heavy.
Yeah,
but not in that movie. She didn't put on a bunch of weight
Kirstie
during
Alley
that summer.
Was a looker back in the day, though.
Yeah,
looker might be a bit strong.
She played.
I felt like in the '80s, she was.
No. When she went to Cheers, she was a vast improvement over Shelley Long. Like Diane. Sam could have had anyone.
See, that's a little before my time. I'm thinking more. Was she?
You've seen Cheers in reruns.
I have, but like
it exists in the zeitgeist.
No, but I mean, I think she was like, Look Who's Talking, right? Wasn't she in that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's more my era.
Which is that's way after Cheers was on. I mean, they didn't run concurrently at all. Look Who's Talking and Cheers.
You like that? You like that? Oh, you guys are talking about you guys are talking. You guys are so old. Look how young I am.
I remember Kirstie Alley from Cheers, but you're talking about a switch that was before my time.
You know what Shelley Long looks like.
I do.
So what's the problem here?
Bert,
I actually have
Bert,
to Google
I
her.
think that Shelley Long was on Cheers when I was like 7 or 8 years old. Like I wasn't
and I was probably 3 or 4 then.
I know I wasn't watching Cheers when I was 7 or 8 years old, but I consume culture and the zeitgeist.
The fact that you dismissed the reference out of hand, like we all are graybeards and you are this young pup.
I didn't say that.
It's
okay,
implied it.
So
absolutely,
I wear my age.
Let's do this. Let me just make an example. Is that Hardy gave Bert said I wore a suit inside. Hardy had a funny line. So you're like Ward Cleaver. That's a Leave It to Beaver reference. None of us were alive for many years after Leave It to Beaver left the air. We were not even produced sperm. We were, our parents might not have even been married.
Right.
Or if our parents indeed ever were married.
We all understand the reference.
But we get the reference because we all know Leave It to Beaver existed.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making, Kendra. Oh,
wow.
That's a shot right there.
No, it wasn't. It actually wasn't. No, I didn't mean it actually like that at all. I don't know why saying that would be such an insult, but Kendra plays the same game. Like you'll reference something from like 2000.
I know, but I'm not. But Kendra's actually a different generation than you. I'm not.
I know, but first of all, she's 28, and it's not like she doesn't know stuff that happened in like 2005. Like Catcher in the Rye was written before I was born, but like I know about it. Adolfo in the car yesterday was like, "Get Zoe to read Pride and Prejudice." Blah,
I don't know.
Blah, blah.
I don't know.
Hang on a second, but I just wanted to let you know Adolfo said to get her to read Pride and Prejudice because he loves it. But like I've never read Pride and Prejudice. It came out before I was born. But I got like that it's a book that people respect. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know that like Shelley Long is this cultural icon that I have to know all this stuff about.
Sam and Diane is a reference. A Sam and Diane type relationship is a cultural reference.
I don't know much about
outside
her.
of a. Okay,
The Money Pit.
Wait.
Like, I honestly like the Money Pit doesn't resonate.
Okay,
with me at all.
Adam.
Sorry.
Adam.
Yes.
What's a Sam and Diane type relationship mean?
I mean, it's the relationship that never
It's a will they or won't they.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
like
so
it always gets close to it, but it never quite gets
So
there.
in storytelling in popular culture, they will say, so like Nick and Jess from New Girl had a Sam and Diane type relationship. Will they or won't they? That's what they said about New Girl. So you could say Nick and Jess, and it would be the same thing. I'm just letting you know that a Sam and Diane type relationship is used even currently as a method of describing storytelling, and that was done in a script. Hardy,
No.
That was called improvisation.
Improvisation. What about Troop Beverly Hills? You a fan of that
No.
Shelley Long vehicle?
No.
You know,
Night Shift? She was actually pretty hot in Night Shift.
No, she was never really hot.
She's kind of hot in Night Shift.
No, she's not.
Yes,
she's
cooking the scrambled eggs scene in
She's
Henry
never
Winkler's
attractive.
kitchen. Yeah.
Troop Beverly Hills had the redheaded girl that now is a
See,
big. You probably love the redheaded girl from Troop Beverly Hills now.
Our very minuscule.
She plays with Death Cab for Cutie.
Our very minuscule generation gap, you guys and me, is now showing. But it takes some work to get there. Like, it's not like this is a big gap between us. But, like, some of these references, like Cheers was off the air when I was, like, 11.
Yeah, but,
so I was
but it's one of the most. Okay, so All in the Family wasn't on the air probably when I was, or like certainly when I was.
So you wouldn't get a lot of the references from All in the Family, but you know about like.
But I know like the rape episode, and I know like
what it means when he calls someone meathead.
Yeah, like I get all that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you read a book or something and they'll like make a reference and you can kind of discern like what the reference is or a word is used, and you don't know the word necessarily, but you kind of figure out in context what it means.
Yeah.
Were we the last generation that was able to do that?
Yes.
Maybe.
It's like sometimes like I just like I kind of understand.
Yeah, I understand enough to move along and maybe even add a little something.
All right, Tara, a female caller. This is very exciting. Tara, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that Burt Breer is crazy. I was born the same year as him, and Cheers was on every night, prime time, during the evening rush. So that thing was on all the time. Everyone saw it.
It was in
And
syndication.
I do understand what he's saying as far as the tiny generation gap between you guys, because there's a little known thing called the Zennials. We were born in 1980. We're not quite Generation Z, and we're not quite millennials. So,
well, no, Generation X.
We're the greatest generation.
Yeah, Generation X.
All right,
X and millennials. That's
1980 is not Generation
I've
X.
never heard that before.
It
the
is.
Zennials
It's
doesn't make
supposedly
sense to
right
me.
on the edge there.
It's true.
No, I
It's true.
have heard this too. I've heard 78 to 82. Like that's like the one that's neither.
Oh, okay.
So
Cheers ran from 82 to 93, and it was probably in syndication. From 93.
He was all the time.
Yeah,
But-
you're going to tell me you're not familiar with the Tortellis?
But that's the type of show. That's the type of show that if your parents didn't watch it, you weren't watching it, and my parents didn't watch it.
But
And did you watch anything? At what point did you start watching nothing but football? Because I feel like you consumed
I
football
consumed
at
a
an
lot of
early
football.
age,
Yeah.
and probably not a lot since then.
I had when I was a kid, what did I watch? Like The Simpsons.
Birth of a Nation.
I mean, but
Bring It Up, Baby.
The Cheers is one of those shows, though. I feel like your parents would have had to watch it, right, for you to watch it at that age. Like when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, it's like you weren't an 8-year-old is not.
That came up before I was born.
Like an 8 or a 9-year-old in 1988 or 89 is not sitting down and watching Cheers by themselves, right?
There's a reference that just went way over your head.
Right, there we go. There it is again.
Yeah, but it was from 1910.
All
right,
from the aughts. Yeah, fair enough. If your
the current president went to the premiere.
Can you get your parents on the phone? I want to find out if they watch Cheers.
I will ask that.
I believe Andrew Jackson went to the premiere of Birth of a Nation.
I
swear to God.
I don't believe you or trust you.
Why don't you trust me?
I want to speak to your parents myself. I want phone numbers before you leave.
I will get you the phone numbers.
Thank you.
But I don't think they watched Cheers. I watched Unsolved Mysteries when I was that age.
Robert Stack.
Robert Stack,
There we go.
yeah. But that's another one. But that's another one that I feel like your parents had to be watch. Like an 8-year-old wasn't going to watch that on their own. That's something you would watch because your parents are watching it, right?
Okay. Yeah. Certainly.
We are the greatest generation, by the
Woodrow
way.
Wilson.
I had that 78 to 82 window. Like I've heard that we're very level people.
Yeah, you're late.
We're very level
Late
people
to break,
because
late to get here.
We're level people because nothing happened when we were kids.
Okay.
Like nothing serious really happened until Like for me, there was no like the Gulf War was the most serious thing like my entire childhood.
Yeah, if you live in a very jingoistic bubble, certainly. Yeah, Woodrow
Yeah,
Wilson
you're all
attended
soft.
the premiere of that film.
We're not soft.
Nothing bad happened yet, and nothing to
we
build
just-
your character.
We just don't think everything's the biggest thing in the world.
From 75 to 80, I mean, when I was alive before you, there was a lot going on. I mean, you
guys had like that.
Really in it. All right, listen, we got to go. It's already 8 o'clock. All right, thank you, Bert. We'll be back. We have
Love you, Bert.
a wonderful Adolfo game coming up. Bye. Bye. All right, here we go.
More.
last game against the New York Jets. Both tackle Vidarian Lowe and left guard Michael Jordan missed their second straight practice yesterday, along with defensive back Alex Austin. 49ers, in a surprise, had Deebo Samuel on the field at their practice yesterday. He was listed as limited. In other NFL news, Dallas beat the Giants last night 20-15. The Bruins looked good early at Madison Square Garden last night.
Now a chance for Harrison moving toward his left. He scores! Brett Harrison found himself alone with the puck, got quick moving to his right, slides it in to tie the game at 1.
That's Ryan Johnston here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. That was also one of the few highlights of the night for the Bruins on a 5-2 road loss to the New York Rangers. Bruins have begun their preseason with 2 losses in 3 games. They play again tomorrow night in Philadelphia. And in baseball news, the Red Sox had their final night off of the season last night. They wrapped things up with a 3-game weekend series against Tampa Bay, and that begins this evening at Fenway Park. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the Prime Rib Dinner at the 99. Available every Friday and Saturday after 4 p.m. and all day Sunday. 16 ounces of slow-roasted USDA Choice Prime Rib with 2 sides. You gotta love the 9s. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub. Half toucher.
Dressed like a gorilla.
Half Hardy.
A big, beautiful ball of flame.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Sports Hub.
One for the trouble, 2 for the bass. You know the style, it's time to flip this. I like my.
See, effect. Used to have a crush from Dawn and Vogue. When you get with me. All right, this is actually covered by Phil Perry in his acoustic rap group that he had. His all-white acoustic rap group that played in the D.C. area.
Mr. Fred.
Yeah, they played the 930 Club a lot. They were a huge influence on Minor Threat and all the DC hip hop that came out from there. He was in the original Bad Brains.
Opened for Scream, Dave Grohl's band.
Yeah, yep. And it was a 3 band bill. It was the Bad Brains, and then
Scream and Mr.
Scream and then Phil Perry's band. If you do,
they were the middle act.
You can hear Phil Perry. He was trying to justify being in an all-white acoustic band that did rap covers, and he said, so it's just you can't be an acoustic band with rap covers. I said, yes, you can't. You hit the nail on the head. That's a terrible, terrible sin. And the idea that you're so unaware of it.
They didn't just do that though, Fred. I mean, they did Sister Hazel, and they did Third Eye Blind, and
and then they would sprinkle in like Outkast, and you'd be like, no, you get rid of that now out of your set. You can't do that. What's wrong with you? That's hideously embarrassing. I said, you get douche chills over it. And he looked at me like I was insane. I thought he was going to be like, yeah. Like I breakdanced at Tally Hall when I told you I have a video of it somewhere. When I was like 10 years old, me and my friend Matt Dumas went out to Tally Hall and we asked if we could use the stage. It's like a big food court. And I asked if I could use the stage, and we breakdanced, and we didn't know how to breakdance. And everyone was looking at us. And when I look back at it, I get douche chills like, wow, you're such an embarrassing person, Fred. That's really embarrassing that you did that. I figured Phil Perry would be the same, like, wow, what an embarrassing thing to be in What a Stupid Band. And he was just looked at me like I had 10 heads, that he really didn't understand what I was talking about.
I don't think it was stupid. I think they brought a lot of smiles to a lot of people's faces on game day. The Georgetown basketball fans loved him.
I could picture
part of the experience.
Say he was in college in 99, 2000. I could picture Hardy in the year 2000 walking into a bar, all gacked up and finding the Phil Perry rapping with an acoustic guitar in his lap.
At that point,
that would have brought you a lot of pleasure.
No, but I was several years out of college at that point. I was at a different point in my life.
Yeah, in college you would have loved it too.
A little volatile.
Yeah. Or you could have just talked to him for 3 hours afterwards. You guys are going to be huge. Let me manage you.
And then said nothing for an even longer amount of time.
Very good. Well, that wasn't where I was going with it, but you wouldn't have liked it either. All right. Let's play a game, shall we?
Yes.
I'm a golfer. And this is Adolfo Gonzalez.
All right, Adolfo is still in town. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to see him again.
Doesn't sound like it.
He said he could do something today, but I don't think he really can. Or he could do.
But are you
He
gonna
could go to dinner tomorrow, and I can't do that.
Are you gonna have to go pick him up?
Yeah, like
You
there's a
make
lot of
that happen?
variables. Like there's a lot of variables.
He's not in Boston anymore. He's out in the suburbs.
No, and he's even further tonight. Like he's like really far away. So I don't know how we would
So
do it
you'd
all.
have to drive all the way out there to get him.
Yeah. That it doesn't. Well, I can't tomorrow, and I really can't today. I'm going to the movies with Zoe today. All right. So anyway, the new robot movie. It's very exciting. There's some.
Oh, it's supposed to be really good.
Well, look, I'm going to be there at 6:00. All right. Very good. Adolfo's in town. He's not on the show today, but he's in town. He's with friends. We all loved having him back. I'm sure he'll be back again soon. And we say Adolfo Gonzalez.
That's right.
Why is it Gonzalez?
Because he's gone and he doesn't live here anymore. And in maybe 3 more days, maybe another week, he'll be gone again. And there are other things that are gone from Boston. So Adolfo went through a number of things that he really likes here in Boston, some of which aren't here anymore. We're going to hear Adolfo describe a place that he loves. Maybe he visited during his visit here, which continues after you changed his flight twice. And we will have to determine, A, what place it is that he's talking about, and B, whether or not that place is still around. Because a lot has changed since Adolfo Gonzalez became Adolfo Gonzalez. Are these places gone? And what place is it anyway?
Very good. It sounds like we can do this. It will be a lot of fun.
Sounds like I'm going to do crappy at this. All right.
No, we'll be fine.
All
All right. So we haven't heard these 12. You have Adolfo describing something?
Here we go.
This place was the first place I actually had a nice home-cooked dinner. First time on my own, didn't know anybody. The owner hooked me up. He gave me a plate of food for free. Ever since then, I fell in love with this place, and I was able to get the guys hooked on it as well.
Oh, okay. So I think I had it before getting the guys hooked on it part, because I don't know. I don't know what you guys were hooked on, but I have a guess.
I have a guess too.
Okay, so can I guess first? Because you guys will probably have a better shot at getting this.
John's got no idea.
Okay, I'm going to guess Jim's Deli, and it's still here.
You are going to be correct. And that is where I saw.
Yes.
Okay.
Hear it again, please.
Jim's Deli. Adolfo the win.
All right. Jim's Deli. I saw Anthony Costanzo and his agent before the NFL draft, where he was taken in the first round. Talking there. Our good friend Anthony Costanzo.
Yeah, guest of the show.
Jim's Deli in Brighton. They would serve. I would go in there. Franks and beans.
Yeah.
Which I didn't necessarily have a lot of as a kid, or even as an adult. So good. I never had a bad meal at Jim's Deli.
So you're the guy that ate that stuff.
Zoe.
Yeah, because they would.
Zolak.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got? A lot of you just put a lot.
I had to tell at one point Jim's Deli to stop giving me free food, which I felt it got to the point where I felt bad. They were so nice over there. I haven't been there in years.
Jim's Deli is a spot that Hardy and I shared a meal once, and I did not order a beverage, and Hardy was incensed by the fact that I was not having a beverage with my meal.
12 does that. He insists.
How do you do that?
What's really
They didn't have a
weird.
faucet.
The tap was broken.
The tap was broken. Exactly.
Yeah, he was like they wanted me to use the key to the bathroom. He's like, I'm not going to go in there and get a glass. I'm not going to fill my canteen in there.
I don't know if he still does it, but 12 had this thing he was doing for a while where he refused to drink during a meal. He said it helped digestion.
It was helping for a while, and then it stopped. So now it's not an issue anymore.
Did the doctor tell you to do that?
No, it was just something that I had kind of figured out on my own.
Oh,
yeah.
Researched online.
Would you get violent diarrhea?
No.
Would there be too much water in your
just
stool?
Be just upset stomach. No, I'm not Chan-Ho Park.
Okay, you wouldn't get the water didn't water down your stool, and then you would make diarrhea.
No.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
All right, let's move to
another
the next
one.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another for
He was so sick of the diarrhea, he's like, I can't drink no more.
Gonzalez.
This place was where I saw a lot of great shows, including a bunch of post-hardcore dudes going absolutely nuts over the vocals of a very mousy lead singer.
And that's that.
All right, well, it's
Okay.
either Great Scott or the Middle East, and
I was
both
going
are
to say the
gone.
Middle East. I think it's the Middle East.
I'm going to say it's Great Scott because he could walk there. He couldn't walk to the Middle East.
This one I might get. Middle East.
I'm going to say Great Scott.
Hardy?
I'm going to say Middle East.
Yeah.
Okay, we got
Middle
two
East.
for Middle East, one for Great Scott.
Great Scott.
It is Great Scott.
I was wrong.
And it is gone.
Hey,
Well, but it's
Fred,
coming
can
back.
you change my flight again?
All right, very good. Yeah, the Great Scott is coming back. I know Adolfo too well. I'm not going to get any of these wrong. All right, go ahead.
All right, let's go.
This place was my old watering hole. It's where I got my
I know
whistle
it.
wet and my mouth dry from all the free popcorn.
Oh,
free popcorn.
Oh, jeez.
That
Could
threw
that
me
be
off.
Hogan's Run?
I was
I
going
was
to
gonna
go
say
Hogan's Run,
Hogan's
but
Run.
there was no
Hogan's
free
Run.
popcorn.
There's no free popcorn at Hogan's Run?
No.
Because it's not there anymore.
No, they didn't have food. They didn't have a popcorn machine. They had chips. They had a fake kitchen.
I'm just thinking of a place that
Do you know that? They had a fake kitchen.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, they had like a big ventilation system on the side that didn't even do anything. Oh, God, it's not Hogan's Run.
I'm still going to Hogan's Run because I don't
I
have
was
another
going
guess.
Hogan's Run. You can't put it by Adolfo to be wrong about this.
There's no way
Run.
Adolfo drank regularly at a place I didn't drink with him ever. But there was no place that we went that had free.
Where did he live?
He lived
Alston?
in Alston and Brighton.
Where's that place over on Western Ave? There was a bar over there like...
Oh, the Last Drop? It's because I never went there with him. Who had free popcorn?
That should be your...
Someone had free... Oh, no, that's in Newton. There's a bar in Newton that has free popcorn, but that's not it. I'm saying Hogan's Run, too.
So it's Hogan's Run across the board?
Yeah.
Sorry, fellas.
Silhouette Lounge. Now you done it. I'm moving in.
I never went to the Silhouette.
I'm Adolfo. And this is Adolfo.
Were you ever in there?
I've never gone to the Silhouette. Robbie Road Steamer, that's his place. All right. It almost was too much. Like, Hogan's Run was enough. The Silhouette, knew it was a dive. Hogan's Run was just... Hogan's Run...
Was an actual dive?
I mean, Hogan's Run was... There were more people there at 10 in the morning than there were at 10 at night.
Yeah.
There was a time I was in Hogan's Run, and a bunch of kids that were under 21 showed up and got into it with Electric Larry, who was the bartender and the only staff member that was there. And it was a situation where if these guys wanted to just come in and wreck the place, there was nothing anyone could do to stop them. And Electric Larry, who would always be all cut up because he would smash his bike going home,
Yeah.
he was in no place to stop him.
To paraphrase Lester Bangs, Hogan's Run was a dive bar that didn't try not to be a dive bar, and that made it poetic.
Yes, indeed.
You know,
We
it's
had
fun-
a drinking contest.
It's funny you guys mentioned Hogan's Run.
This place was the first bar I was able to get in, and I wasn't even 21 yet. Never mind that I didn't have an ID. They were still willing to give me a beer.
So, yes, Hogan's Run did make it
You didn't
into-
edit that at all. That's good.
Yes.
How long did he go on about Hogan's Run?
This was classic Adolfo, where it was just all of a sudden the thought was there and then the thought was gone.
Hogan's Run.
All right, very good. It was Hogan's Run. Very
Yes.
good. We all got it right.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just have one more clip from that,
You can never say no to Electric Larry.
especially when he's serving up those chilled vodka shots, right?
Absolutely.
You guys want one more?
Yeah.
All right, let's give you one more. And, I'm going to give you this one because this was the one of all of the places that he gave me that I didn't know. So I'm going to see if one of you guys knows this one.
This place is where I played a sneaky little prankster, where I got to be on the TV stealing food. It was also around the corner from the station.
So
I
everything's
don't know what the
pretty mu-
hell he's talking about.
Okay, everything's within walking distance of the station.
I got to be a sneaky little prankster stealing food.
I mean, he's clearly referencing a bit, but I don't remember the bit he's referencing. And even when he told me the place, I was like, I don't remember this place.
Oh.
Okay, so it's not the McDonald's on...
It's not the Dunkin' Donuts where
No,
Roby Show
where
tracked
he
him
worked
down.
and got fired.
Yeah.
Where he was showing up to make bagels before the show, and he would not. He would not.
Couldn't
show
hold
up.
that job.
There
Yeah.
was a Tedeschi's not far from the station.
That's right. That's right down the road from the Dunkin' Donuts there.
Yeah.
Oh no, because it's not Irish Village. It's not the steakhouse there.
And if it were the Star Market, 12 would know about that.
Yeah, it's not the food pantry, because then 12 would know.
I'm going.
It's not. Is there a Unitarian church? Oh no, that's right. The 12 would have been
Tedeschi's.
Food.
I have no idea.
All right.
I have no idea. Okay, so you've never heard of it? I'll say
Big
Irish
A's.
Village.
Big A's. Like, what's Big A's? We all worked there. I know all these places. I'd never heard of Big A's.
I need the key to your guest room and a plunger.
All right. Do you think he's confused and thought he was in the cast of Happy Days?
Perhaps.
Do you think he's thinking of Al's? Remember that time I jumped the fried chicken stand and I smashed up my bike? Hey, remember that time? Remember I had that office in the bathroom? Remember I'd look in the mirror to do my hair, but then would realize I didn't have to do it?
I don't want to end on a loss.
Hang on real quick. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, the Hogan's Run used to have a kitchen. I used to eat lunch there when I was like 13.
How long ago were you 13?
38, 39 years ago.
Yeah, okay. I can't speak for Hogan's Run at that point. Yeah. We're talking late aughts.
And we used to call it the Stinking Lincoln because it was so filthy inside.
Yeah, well, it became the Lincoln, which became like a nice place, but I don't know what's there anymore. Like, I have actually ate at the place that Hogan's Run became.
I was over there when John and I went over for Celtics Media Day. It looks like it's a huge apartment building or condo building or
they
something.
renovated the crap out of it.
Well, what it used to be, there used to be a factory apparently behind Hogan's Run,
Yes.
and that's why all those third shift guys would be there in the morning because they never got off that schedule. All right, one more, last one.
All right, last
I'm
one.
Just trip down memory lane.
You said Hardy said you didn't want to.
I want to win.
All right, well you should be able to get this one.
This place is a New England mainstay, known for its crispy, crunchy, cheesy crust. Also, you can learn about the whole history of the place right on their napkins.
What?
Cheesy crust?
You can learn about the history of the place on their napkins? Yeah. Will you tell Nick to calm down in there?
He's very excited about
I know.
this.
Will he shut the hell up?
It's not Pizzeria Regina.
Oh, Hardy.
This place is a
Oh,
New
wait,
England...
sorry, I hit the wrong one. It is Pizzeria Regina, so give yourself again.
I'll make sure you never smoke alone.
Okay, thank you.
Pizzeria Regina. We had events there. All right, whatever, man. He could walk there. I mean,
Yeah.
you can still see it from 90. All right, very good. Adolfo.
Adolfo Gonzalez.
I can't believe Crash was 39 when he moved here. Jesus Christ. He seemed so old.
Yeah.
Like he was like he seemed like a so old at 39 when we first moved here. We used to make fun of him for being old. And Adolfo was 19. He's in his mid-30s now.
Has not changed a bit.
No. He's matured. He got his bag from my ex-wife's house. I mean, I will say that.
Well, he had someone drive him there, but yeah.
Whatever. He got it. He found a way over there because I dropped him off at the train station. Because, again, we went to if you want to know what happened after the show, if you didn't hear at the beginning, I took Adolfo. Then when we were driving home, I realized I had to get my daughter from school. They had a short day, so I got my daughter and her friend. We went to my ex-wife's house because my ex-wife and I had a call with someone, and then Adolfo was yammering so much about his flip phone. He was very much trying to impress the girls because he has a specialized flip phone.
That's right.
And he was yapping so much, I had to go quiet down Adolfo. And then I dropped him at the train station, but he left his bag. You know, he asked Stephanie if he could leave his bag there. She was nice and said yes. And I thought, he's never getting this thing. This is going to become a huge issue. And before 5 o'clock, Adolfo was back there, got a ride, and got his bag.
Interesting.
I will hand it to Adolfo. All right, when we come back, another one of our good friends, Ryan Johnson, has moved on to greener pastures, and we will talk to him. He's calling these preseason Bruins games. We'll talk to him everything that's happening with the Bruins and how it is to call a game from Madison Square Garden. We'll be right back.
found himself alone with the puck, got quick moving to his right, slides it in to tie the game at 1.
Hey, we are
Toucher and Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy, and we are, we don't have to give any sponsors. And you just heard the voice of Ryan Johnston.
He's good.
He's very good, and everyone, it's pretty much unanimous. I don't think anyone was against him getting the Bruins play-by-play job. So no more, who knows, but not as much filling in on the show. Ryan Johnston, you called the game last night from Madison Square Garden.
I did. First time I've ever been at MSG. It was a good time, even in the preseason. Pretty cool place to check out.
Okay, and so do you feel, how is this different than when you were, I mean, you only done a couple games as the announced full-time play-by-play guy. How is it different now than it was when you were just filling in?
For me personally, it just, there's maybe a little bit more confidence to it. I'm not feel like I'm working hard and all that, but I'm not really feeling like I have to try to impress somebody. This is my job now. So I've actually been pretty comfortable right off the bat, and getting a chance to call 3 games in 5 days is kind of helped me get back into the swing of things and knock a little bit of rust off my game.
It doesn't sound rusty at all. Now, I can't say the same for the Bruins. Ryan, they lost the game last night.
They did.
Okay.
They did.
All right. So it's tough to tell, though, and get like a real gauge of what the team is going to be like. Seeing a lot of guys, getting a lot of minutes.
Not a lot of starters so far.
Yeah. But are you able to glean anything about the team based on who they've been playing so far in these first few games?
About the team, I don't think we've learned a whole lot. Last night, the Rangers put 15 guys out there who are full-time or will be full-time NHL players, and the Bruins had a handful. So it's, it's difficult to really gauge anything team-wise out of that game. You kind of look at individuals and how guys are being deployed, who's getting minutes, what the defensive pairings look like, or who's centering a line or something like that to kind of get a little sense of where Jim Montgomery and Don Sweeney might think a guy might fit or who might have the inside track on making the team. But they still got 4 more preseason games to go. We'll see more of the starters as we go along, but there's still a lot to be decided here. I don't think too many of them have really jumped out and are demanding a roster spot right now.
We had the expected Swayman conversation, Ryan, during the first hour, and my question to the other 2 guys in the room is, should we be worried that Swayman isn't signed yet? So I'll ask you, because opening night is coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, I think most of us thought that it would probably be done by now, and the fact that it's not is obviously concerning. As Bob Beers and I were talking the other night, it really puts a lot more focus on what Jonas Korpisalo looks like in this preseason, what Brandon Bussey does in this preseason, because that, come opening night might be your tandem. And I don't think too many people were anticipating that. Don't know anything more than what Don Sweeney has said, and there's been a lot of speculation out there. But, now the hope is get it done and get him in net for opening night against the Panthers would be, the job one. And if it goes beyond that, then it's, how it impacts the team going forward is going to be fascinating to watch.
All right, so you don't, Ryan, have to participate in this, but we were talking about what, because of your role with the team, but I will tell you this, is that we were arguing how much money they should give Swayman and how much salary cap space goalies should take up and what their importance is. I'll read this email. Wall can get bent. You are right and he's wrong. The problem with Swayman is he's putting himself in the wrong group of comparable goalies. He thinks he's a top 5 and his stats don't come close. And don't let Wall compare him to Vasilevsky. That guy's a unicorn in this whole list. There are only 3 cups and 5 cup finals total. You don't need to pay a goalie to win. Hot goalies can come from anywhere. Top paid goalies, games started in the last 3 years in awards. Carey Price, Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, Hellebuck, Sorokin, Gibson, and they've finished no higher than 7th. There's only a couple cups in there. So the cup-winning teams in general don't have to have a high-paying goalie.
All right, so let me ask Ryan this: what kind of goaltender is Jonas Korpisalo? Is he a bad goaltender on a bad team last year, or a good goaltender that got hamstrung by the people in front of him?
Well, based on, I've seen him for all of 7 saves so far.
Okay.
In a game, so not too much to learn from that. Although he looked good. I mean, he got tested. Of those 7 saves, at least 3 or 4 of them were really good saves, and he looked confident and all that. Listen, he had a terrible team in front of him in Ottawa, a really bad defense. So he's going to be better than that. If you go back a couple of years when he was in LA for a short stint, he was really good there. When he was in Columbus, he was really good there for a while. So I think they're pretty confident that he can carry the ball when needed. And, we'll kind of see that going forward. I'm interested to see, I'm sure, here in the next game or two. Last night Bussy played the full game. I'm sure they're going to do that for Korpisalo here at some point going forward, and we'll get a little bit of a better look. One of the names you didn't mention on that list, Fred, was Igor Shesterkin, who, we were down in New York yesterday. The media is all aflutter because he wants a contract. He's going into the last year of his deal. He's asking for $12 million a year.
Jesus.
Good Lord.
And he's got a Vezina on his resume, but he doesn't have a Stanley Cup either. And he's asking for 12, and he's also demanding to the team he wants it done before the start of the regular season, or he's going to stop negotiating and play out the year. So a lot of pressure on them to try to get things done and with their guy who is, another legitimate franchise goalie.
It's funny because it's like these guys want to set the market. It's like a race to who can set a new goalie market. It's almost like collusion in a way. But I'll ask you this, your opinion, and it's not specifically to the Bruins. So I think that you're not in any danger of offending anyone. And so here's the deal. Do you think it's more important to have a stout defense and like a balanced team, or does that make the good goalie, or does the good goalie make the team?
I would say there are probably examples of both, but by and large, I think you can get by with a decent goalie and a really good defense. If you have a not a good goalie and a good defense, you can probably do okay with that. When you have a great goalie, they can hide a lot of warts. And, I think that, for as much as people around here, the Felgers of the world say, oh, you can have anybody in goal. I don't think you can.
No, I don't think you can have anybody, right.
I think that the Bruins' success, yes, they're a very good team defensively. I think they got better defensively over this offseason. That's certainly the hope. But I think, if you've got a guy back there who can erase the mistakes that your defense makes or that your team makes defensively, it's such a huge advantage. You look at some of the teams that failed year after year in the playoffs. They just, they've got one of those okay goalies, and they just can't come up with a big save when needed. And what Swayman showed last year in the playoffs is he's capable, when he's carrying the load, he can make the big saves in big situations.
See, that's where I part company with you a little bit, Ryan. I don't know that he's great, and he wants great goaltender money. I know that he's good, but he hasn't played enough or consistently enough to convince me that he is that great goalie. And to that end, I'd still feel a little more comfortable with, building out from him and maintaining, a core or, 2 or 3 really like pure goal scorers and shoring up the defensive lines, because I don't know with Swayman. I don't know if he's great.
Yeah, that could be where the negotiations are right now is, how long do they want to commit? Again, I don't know any of this stuff personally, but, I think, there's been a school of thought that do they go with a shorter term deal to get something done, to get him into camp and get him ready to play and deal with the longer term implications later after he has shown a little bit more of what he's like if you play him, 55, 60 games during the course of a regular season. But I'm guessing that there's 2 schools of thought on that between the team and the player, and how they get that worked out, I don't know.
All right. Well, listen, Ryan, you're doing a great job. You're flying all around. Are you in New York right now?
No, we came back right after the game. I was in bed by 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I figured you would, but John was insisting that you would stay in New York and then fly to Philadelphia.
We had a huge argument about it.
Yeah, I mean, we did. I mean, he's just showing his ignorance, and you would think, I mean, you got to be a whole different level of clueless to have flown with the team and be trumped by Hardy and I, but who knows?
What the Celtics.
But the preseason's a little different. We
Fred.
traveled day of game during the preseason, so we left at 2:30 yesterday afternoon to fly to New York.
Well, John was flying himself places.
35-minute flight, an hour and 10 on the bus from Newark Airport to Madison Square Garden.
Hour and 10. Jesus,
Yeah.
that sucks.
All right.
The traffic wasn't even that bad.
Oh,
yeah, it's just the way that's laid out. All right. Well, Ryan, great job. We look forward to talking to you throughout the season. I always put you on the spot for that, and I'm glad to do it. All right, Ryan, good job. We'll talk to you soon.
Anytime, guys.
All
See you,
right,
Ryan.
There you go. You're damn right. Anytime.
So I'm just so happy for him.
I really am.
Living out a dream.
No, it's great. It's a
Good
great, and again, real quick, it's just and not to be Pollyannic, but it's a great message, and I've told it to my kids.
Yeah.
I said, look, because my message to my kids is like, I'd rather don't like sell out, right? I know a lot of people that if you have like a dream in life that is not, it doesn't guarantee happiness, but like say a career dream, there's no reason to give up on it. And the thing is that Ryan, I bet 99% of people, and how many people have given up on their dream, but Ryan just never did. And then when you look back on it, like it's all worth it. He has a wife that he loves. He's got, he's got a house. He's got everything else, and he never switched career paths, and he stayed focused on what he wanted to do. And now at his age, he got the play-by-play job that he always wanted. Yeah. And I think that it's a fantastic story. I really do. And I think it's a story that should have been covered more nationally, not locally, but nationally. I think it's a great, great story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that would have been like a great Sports Illustrated story.
Yes.
I got to do the work for everyone.
Yes.
All right. Very good.
You should be in all these meetings.
Yeah.
I really want to.
Plus, I
there's Zoom.
I think the AI Sports Illustrator is probably not a good example. You need a physical writer to go talk to him.
I'm an old man, and it's the only reference I have. Sport magazine, The National.
The sporting news.
Sporting
my dad got the sporting news. My dad got Baseball
So
America,
did
and
I.
I challenged that he ever read it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. I pulled over my car yesterday to watch something on my phone. Have I told you I was in my car lot yesterday?
You might have mentioned it.
I should start complaining more.
What did you pull over to watch yesterday? Was it something newsworthy, or was it just...
It was something that was happening in real time. Ooh, is that a tease? I even teased these guys. We'll talk
What
about
the
it.
hell was it?
We'll talk here. That
You're not going to tell us now?
Nope.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots will practice one more time today. They'll fly to the West Coast to get ready for a road game against San Francisco this Sunday. The team was without offensive lineman Vidarian Lowe and Michael Jordan in practice yesterday, along with defensive back Alex Austin. Bruins lost to the New York Rangers last night 5-2 at Madison Square Garden. They'll continue their preseason tomorrow night in Philadelphia. And the Red Sox had last night off. They wrap up their regular season and their season overall with a 3-game weekend series against Tampa Bay, which begins tonight at Fenway Park. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Boston Vision. Go where Gerard Mayo went for his LASIK surgery and visit the eye pros at Boston Vision. Book a free evaluation today at bostonvision.com because your best vision is Boston Vision. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9 o'clock.
You're listening the Sports Hub.
And the delivery now, and that's swung on a fly ball left field. That's playable. Langford coming on toward the line, fighting the sun, and he drops it. And scoring is Wilson. And the Airs take a 3-0 lead. It wasn't Hamilton drops the ball. It was Langford drops the ball. And the old Coliseum sun. It is so appropriate after all these years. And we talked about it. Day baseball, last game ever at the Coliseum. And the Coliseum sun strikes again.
Another East Bay night.
Hey, there you go. Lookout Records, everyone. I'm telling Tim. All right, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. So I'm in the car yesterday, and I realized it's the A's last game in Oakland.
Oh, that's what you pulled over for.
But I'm listening. So I start by listening to it on the radio, and it's the Texas broadcast, and they're horrible. And so the guy is, they're not horrible, but they're like dorks. And so the play-by-play guy is, shockingly. And he goes, there's a fan on the field. And I'm like, oh, here we go. He goes, we got our first fan on the field. He goes, now they're throwing smoke bombs and there's debris in right field. So I'm like, oh, cool. Like this, because it was sold out. And I'm like, this is going to get nuts. And then the guy goes, and there's another guy in the field and he's been pinned down, hopefully on his way to jail. Go screw yourself. What are you like? Where were you at Kent State? You're for the establishment, you moron. Doesn't that rub you guys the wrong way? It's the last game in Oakland, and you're like go arrest them all. Like, get them out of here. Like, screw you. Get him out of here. Big fun guy, right? That really bugged me. And hopefully going to jail. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully they put him in jail. Hopefully you pay for it, dumbass. Guy ran on the field. If you were security, you got to get him off the field, right? And obviously something bad could happen. Right. But so you shouldn't run on the field. But if you're security, the last game in Oakland on an A's game, dude runs on the field, just go.
There was
you really going to put him in jail?
There was a golfer years ago at the U.S. Open when Webb Simpson won, and a guy ran into the background, some protester or something while he was getting his trophy. And Webb Simpson turns around and goes, "Oh, have fun in jail, guy." Like, oh, you douchebag.
Yeah, it's just such a douchey thing. Like, should they all go to jail? Like, what did you, go tell the teacher? It bugs me. But anyway, so Matt Vescursion was talking about, he's a big A's fan. Everyone knows Matt Vescursion. He's great. And he was talking about how the Major League Baseball had told both teams, Texas and Oakland, not to linger on the field. They get off the field as soon as possible. And during the Texas broadcast of the ninth inning, they were saying, because they're law and order guys, they're and then the teams have been told to get off the field as soon as possible. So Matt Vescursion and they both said it. So I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. So I pulled over. I have the MLB app.
Very impressed.
Thank you. And so I'm watching it, and the A's did, so they win, and the kid throws 104 that they're closing.
Mason Miller, yeah.
Yeah, they win. What do I know? And so they win. But the A's stay on the field, and Mark Kotze, their manager, talked.
So Fred pulls the car over to watch this.
This is what makes it a clean 5-zip sweep. No one
I had screen on screen
theater more than Keegan Bradley.
Yeah, it was
right?
the President's Cup. Which Hardy was glued to yesterday.
Good for you, Hardy.
All right, play Mark Kotze. I'm being sincere in liking a moment. Can we please?
I want to take a minute
And here's Mark Kotze.
to share with all you how privileged and honor I feel today to stand on this field. It hit me last night.
I was with my beautiful wife. He says when I was with my beautiful wife.
Hitting us, all of us, at different times. For me, it was after the game last night. I walked into this stadium. My amazing wife dragged me down onto this field, and we took it all in.
All right, very good. So he talked. It wasn't that great, but the players, to their credit, were picking up dirt and putting it in cups and handing it to fans, and the fans were great. And the owner of the Oakland A's can go lavish in Sacramento and know that his name will forever be dirt in a big area of the country. That is the thing that I'm always fascinated with billionaires. Like, you're a billionaire, and I understand, like, things didn't really go your way in Oakland. And people are mad at Manfred, and I'm like, what do you want the commissioner to do? Anything he does, the guy will sue him, and he's not going to win. You can't tell the guy not to move. Like, that's my understanding of it.
What a situation for the owner to be in, too. It's like there's this, like love of the team and this outpouring of like emotion, and the Coliseum is filled, and you've got fans there chanting.
And you know who, like, another prick is the guy that owns the Warriors, who moved them to San Francisco, goes, I'll buy the A's and keep them in town. And you're like, oh, will you? Like he did with the Warriors? Go, shut up. So anyway, there were all these plans. They could build a new stadium in the parking lot of where the stadium is.
Yeah, it mostly had to do with the Oakland leadership saying, we're not going to give you all that money.
Well, no, the mayor, everyone hates the mayor, and she's not even the mayor anymore. But Vasgersian was talking about the plans that they had were like completely unrealistic. Like the owner wanted to build a spaceship,
right,
like on the water.
Right.
And they're like, well, you can't. It's an active port. Like what are you talking about? It would be like, Boston going like, I can't give you a good example, but like we're going to demolish the financial district, like take down the Hancock building, and we're going to build a stadium.
We're going to raise Quincy Hall, and we're going to put the new Revolution Stadium.
That's actually a good point.
Right.
That's
that
I couldn't get there.
Now that Golden State has moved across the water to San Francisco, the old Warriors building was right next to the Oakland A's stadium. There was plenty of room.
Yes.
Knock down the old Warriors arena, get rid of that parking lot, and build a new ballpark there. Hell, Atlanta did it.
All right,
for God's sake.
But I don't understand the concept of being a billionaire, going through the hassle of buying the team, and the only thing that team got you was that forever you're going to be hated for being selfish. Like, there's no back end, right? Like if you're like in a war or something, like there's people that are going to hate you, but you also are a hero to many. So there's like a give and take. He's a hero to nobody. There's no upside to it. People are going to hate him no matter what. So now forever he's going to be hated. So he went through the exercise of buying the team. The guy's probably 70 or 80 years old. And now, so he can dance around with money for the next 10 or 15 years. And then he'll be dead, and then his name is going to be hated.
What'd you go through all that for?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you just did this just so a lot of people would hate you. It's fascinating to me. Like, just don't buy the team. Like, don't buy it. Like, go buy other stuff. How is it fun? Like we get paid, right? Like, I get paid, and I'm a big a-hole, and I get a lot of hate for it. If I wasn't getting paid, I wouldn't enjoy this experience. Like, why would you pay for the right to be hated at such a higher level? Like, at least, like, there are some people that like me, but, like, it's not fun for a bunch of people to tell you suck all the time. Why would you buy into that? What do you want to do? Well, finally, I've made my first billion. Let's get everyone to hate me. Yeah. We'll start with Oakland, then we'll start moving
and go
east.
way out of my way to do it.
Yeah, like just to make a little bit more money for who? Like, for my kids. Well, now everyone's gonna hate your kids. Like, everyone's gonna hate you. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this guy John Fisher, the owner of the team's younger than I think. He's in his early 60s, which is surprising to me too. But the other part of it is he's from San Francisco, went to Stanford, knows the area well, is from there, and still decided to move a baseball team I'm sure he grew up watching, or at least was very well aware of, out of there. And now they're going to a media market number what in Sacramento?
Oh, yeah,
and,
it's not.
And they're not going to Las Vegas. The plan in place is to play in Sacramento for 3 years, then go to a built ballpark on the Strip. But Hardy, as you well know, there's no way in hell they're going to play there.
I don't know. I don't know if they will or not.
Well, the city doesn't want it.
I would predict that it's going to be a nightmare once they do it, and all their plans of these people coming to watch games in the middle of the summer in Las Vegas. Yeah, you might do it once, but once you make that walk from your hotel over to the stadium right there on Tropicana Avenue,
Kansas City's
Las Vegas Boulevard, and it's 115 degrees, you're going to say, this sucks.
Yeah, Kansas City's in town Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You're going to buy a ticket for that game.
No, I mean...
Look at you, John, repeating what I said earlier.
Yes,
God
I am.
Bless you.
I thought it was a great idea.
Thank you. But I'll tell you this, real quick, we got a break. just to summarize everything, and Hardy lived there. It's 81 games, but what about the Knights? They were the first. What about the Raiders? It's an event, 8 days a year. You're not going to do it. It's not sustainable in Las Vegas. I don't even think they're going to move there. If Excursion thinks they'll stay in Oakland, someone will come in and buy them and do something right. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
HD Boston. From the opening kickoff to the final play. Your home of the past. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots will fly to San Francisco late this afternoon. They'll play the 49ers late on Sunday afternoon. This is game number 4 for Gerard Mayo in his head coaching career, and he's matched up with Kyle Shanahan, who is beginning his 8th season in charge.
You can go back to, 10 years when, he was probably a quarterback's coach or, OC somewhere, Washington or all that. That's what it is for me, and I'm excited to play against him.
Yesterday, the Patriots are missing 3 players at practice, including offensive lineman Vidarian Lowe and Michael Jordan and defensive back Alex Austin. The 49ers, at a big surprise, had Deebo Samuel in a limited capacity after he missed practice on Wednesday. Week 4 of the NFL season began last night at MetLife Stadium. Dallas beat the New York Giants 20-15. The Bruins are 1-2 in preseason play after a 5-2 loss to the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden last night. The Bees will play in Philadelphia against the Flyers tomorrow evening. Red Sox had last night off. They now have just 3 games left. They open up a season-ending 3-game series with Tampa Bay at Fenway Park tonight. And last but not least, day 2 of the President's Cup on tap in Montreal later today. The U.S. team leads the international squad 5-0. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by 128 Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, the company that finishes every job strong. If your home or business has a plumbing, HVAC, electrical, or drain issue that can't wait, you need to call 128 now at 888-CALL-128. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Listen to it. Laugh at it. Get mad at it. Agree with it. Argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, The Sports Hub.
Oh, it's Friday.
Funk Friday. What happened to that? Remember Funk Friday?
I think it's 11 years of Funk Friday.
Oh,
I got kind of sick of it. Let Adam DJ.
Okay.
Give the guy a little something.
Thanks, Fred.
You're welcome, Adam.
All right. Still a staple, though.
In the few times I've DJ'd parties or like club appearances, if the audience was ever low, I could put this on, and regardless of the makeup of the crowd, people would get excited. You ever have to DJ, actually DJ with vinyl?
Oh, yeah.
I had a guy at a lounge that I knew that owned the lounge, and he was like, I probably have told this story in the air before because I'm running out of them. And he was like, what was it called? What was the music called? Was it lounge, Adam? Was that a genre?
What year are you talking about, Fred?
Electronic music, probably, let's say 2002.
Okay, so lounge music or
it was like electric music that was mellow.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, the guy goes, my DJ can't come in today. Would you DJ? And it was like a club that was open till 4 a.m. It was a big club. It was all in white. Stephanie, my ex-wife, was there. And the guy's like, and I go, I guess. And he's like, all right, here's a crate of records. And he's like, and so I'm like, what do I do? And he goes, well, they're all instrumental. So just put the needle
down
down.
tempo stuff, yeah.
And then just in cue, listen to any of the other instrumental albums and just try to make it not too awkward when you crossfade. And I'm like, all right. And it's the most boring 5 hours of my life. I just how do guys sit there getting pumped up?
5 hours
just matching the beat
of a DJ shift like that that's painful. That's real tough.
Well, I got annihilated.
Oh,
But
well, that helps.
what am I going to do? I mean, there was very little to me. I didn't talk into the microphone.
Oh.
I mean, I was just in this DJ booth. It was really something else. All right. Bill O'Brien, he's all loose now. He can talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's got the shackles off and he's having a good time. He's sitting there with Julian Edelman and they're having a little chin wag and they're talking about all things football, but a lot of Patriot stuff.
When do you think Julian Edelman's going to run out of gas? Because he's on my Instagram feed
All
and he's
the
had
time.
John Bon Jovi on now.
He's cycling through all these people. He's running out of teammates.
That's what I'm
coaches.
saying.
He's done Gronk. I guess, has he done Brady yet?
I have no idea.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't.
I got to figure that's like touching the sun for him, but ultimately he's going to run out of steam.
Yeah, and God bless him. I'd do the same thing if I was him. But I mean, out of a sea of a million things to listen to, I mean, I'm certainly not going to seek out Julian Edelman. But that's why the internet's good, because it filters these things. And here is a story that Bill O'Brien had to share.
There's a lot of good coach stories. I can remember like the quarterback meetings when I first got there. So that was Tom, Matt Castle, who you know is one of the funniest human beings of all time.
Is that true? It's Carlin, Pryor, and then him?
Never heard that about Matt Castle.
Coaches are not prone to hyperbole, are they? You can tell on TV that this guy's a cut-up.
Up there with Matt Light, Rich Orenberger, like those three guys.
Outrageous.
These are very funny
They're
guys.
funny guys.
As you know, Bill would come in later in the week, meet with the quarterbacks, and Bill would take his shoes off. And Bill, as you know, Bill didn't.
What? Yeah, and then what?
Is it okay to touch him again?
Yeah, he take his shoes off. Mm-hmm. Don't mind my right hand. I'm just going to put that under my shirt.
Later in the week, meet with the quarterbacks, and Bill would take his shoes off. And Bill, as you know, Bill didn't wear socks.
Yeah.
So and at that time, the quarterback meeting room was pretty small. And so I remember this one meeting, and Matt Castle was like, "What is that smell?"
I want to wear it like a fur. What is that smell? I want to bathe in it. What is that smell? The disgusting smell. Ugh.
They are beautiful.
I'm a piece of garbage. I'm a real pig. Shower me in it.
First of all, can we just address that Bill walks around with the sneakers and no socks? Like,
yeah, just to take them off.
to walk into someone else's office or workspace and then take your shoes off.
Yeah, it's almost like you're deliberately. It's like slapping it on the table, right?
Yeah.
Like you're just like, F you. Like I've been doing. Like I hate to bring it up, but remember when Crash's the woman he was married to 2 weeks ago? John, you might remember this. Crash would have her walk around all day, and he told her never to take off her shoes until she got home.
No, I was not around for that. But
Adam, search Crash feet, and you'll know that he would have
shocked by it.
He
but
would
I
have
wasn't
Melissa
here.
walk around without socks on and shoes, and specifically have her take the shoes off so he could rub her feet and smell them. Like that's old listeners will tell you that's absolutely true.
Why did we not ask him this on Wednesday?
Well, he's on next Wednesday, so you can ask him. But he has he loves everything, dirt piles of dirt. But he does love Melissa's feet. He loved Melissa's feet.
All right,
and he liked them smelly. So perhaps Bill Belichick had a side deal with maybe Ernie Adams.
Interesting.
He's like, Ernie Adams, I'm going to pay you minimum wage, but I'll put my feet on the table for you.
What is that smell? Like, what is that smell? And like nobody says anything, and we're all like, Matt Castle, he was the very funny guy who didn't care about making anyone uncomfortable. He loved making you, and so he was like, no, seriously, like, what is that? Bill, is that your feet? And Bill, I'll never forget this. Bill looked at him and goes, Castle, just shut the
I don't know what I would.
How much an hour?
Is it okay to touch him again?
Embarrass me and then tell me to shut the F up.
But what would you do? Someone comes into our meeting, after the show, and comes into that room. Say it's our boss who comes in and he's got no socks on, takes his shoes off, and you can immediately smell his feet.
Yeah, what would that sound like, Fred?
When the pie's on the windowsill and the cartoon character floats to it?
That wasn't what I was hoping for there.
Wait, okay, you want me to go? All right, I understand what you want me to do. All right,
so guys, tomorrow at 8:20, and then I think we're all set.
Oh, hey, boss, how are you?
Hey, guys, take a seat. All right, let's get comfortable. Let me get these dogs loose.
Oh, my dogs are barking.
Oh, my dogs are barking. I hope this table don't mind my feet sitting on them. I'm doing Gary, I know. I know exactly I'm doing Gary from doing Fred doing.
I think
Gary.
Castle took it easy on him. I may have got up and left.
But it is like an FU move. It's a total move. And then, Bill, by the way, Bill O'Brien, quite a storyteller. And I like the sound effects. You notice I've had the discipline not to talk about the enormous Tommy drum that they're using to emphasize points.
Well,
Would you like to get back to it? Would you like to now listen to it for sound effects? No. Let's go back and listen to how this has been cut up.
Because you did it with the sword swooshing on the last time we did this.
Okay, would you like to hear how terribly this has been put together by whoever's responsible for it? Here we go.
There's a lot of good coach stories. I can remember like the quarterback meetings when I first got there. So that was Tom.
There's a sword.
Matt Castle, who you know is one of the funniest human beings of all time. Up there with Matt Light.
There's another sword.
Rich Ornberger, like those three guys.
Outrageous.
These are very funny
They're
guys.
funny guys.
As you know, Bill would come in later in the week, meet with the quarterbacks, and Bill would take his shoes off.
Big bass drum to emphasize the joke.
Meet with the quarterbacks, and Bill would take his shoes off. And Bill, as you know, Bill didn't wear socks.
Yeah.
Another one.
So and at that time, the quarterback meeting room was pretty small. And so I remember this one meeting, and Matt Castle was like, "What is that smell? Like, what is that smell?" And like nobody says anything, and we're all like, Matt Castle, he was the very funny guy who didn't care about making anyone uncomfortable. He loved making you, and so he was like, no, seriously, like, what is that? Bill, is that your feet?
Another bass drum.
And Bill, I'll never forget this. Bill looked at him and goes, "Castle, just shut the up." I was like, it was like my first year there, and I'm like, I cannot believe I'm witnessing this right now. But as time went on, you could believe it.
The people that produce these clips for you think you're so stupid that it's like Family Matters, that they had to put in the laugh track to let you know when to laugh. Like they have to emphasize every cut and punchline because they think you're too stupid to follow along. Exactly. They think you're so dumb. They have to put a stupid bass drum into it. Boom. Like emphasize. Boom. Oh, my God. This is all terrible. I apologize. For that. But Bill O'Brien showing a lot of personality.
Yeah. He's having a good time.
When he tells his story, he goes, and the guy who I'm about to say that told this joke was a real cut-up. Just I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Let me preface it by saying this guy's a cut-up.
But how much is Bill
What'd you
O'Brien-
do? I just was like, oh, my goodness.
How much is Bill O'Brien enjoying his life right now?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long it lasts, but right now, at this moment, things are pretty good. It's good being Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien is always going to be probably the superior coach on the field in most situations. It's just his ability to recruit. I mean, they beat Michigan State. They should have lost that game.
Yeah, but was stuck with someone else's roster.
Yeah,
I mean, his recruiting was making sure everyone stayed from last year.
So say they win 7 games this year. Or 8 games this year, 7 or 8 games this year. I mean, every year that he gets to recruit, they'll improve.
They got a decent shot to win 8. They're 3-1. They play Western Kentucky this weekend, and then there are no real monsters in the ACC this year.
Right.
So I mean, you got a chance to split that schedule, and that gives you 8.
If he comes out there with 8 wins, I mean, next year he'll be able to recruit, and they'll be a 10-win team. I mean, he can make them into a 10-win team. He can make them into a playoff team.
Yeah, as long as he's there, he can sell the fact that, you know what, I can get you to the NFL. Look at all these assistant coaches. We all have NFL experience. We can point you in the right direction.
How about that it was sold out, on Saturday? I mean, if he keeps selling that place out, and they can go, you're in Metro Boston, you're at a very good academic school. Look, they're not going to compete with IRL with the money that's out there, but that might get regulated soon. They're never going to compete with it. They're never going to win a national championship. But I mean, if Kansas State can make it into a 4-team playoff, BC can certainly make it into a 12-team playoff. I mean, that's not unrealistic expectations for an ACC team to make it a heritage program to make it into a 12-team playoff.
What a story that would be. Considering how mediocre they've been the last 20 years. That would be a hell of a story.
I don't think it's unreasonable that in the ACC that they could be a 2-loss team.
The ACC is down at this moment. They're the weakest far and away of the Power 4 conferences.
And they will be.
And they will be. But this is their chance. This is BC's chance. Right hire, right time, and they're not run and shoot. They're not going to score 50 points a game, but they stay in every game they play.
And besides Florida State, what team should perennially beat them in the ACC? You know,
I would say Clemson, but they're down too.
well, he won't spend money.
Yeah.
Clemson, if you don't know, he doesn't believe in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So he's under a lot of fire right now because he's not screwing around with the transfer
How many
portal.
ranked teams? I think Louisville's ranked this year.
Yeah,
but
Louisville's good, but
nobody
I mean,
else.
But if I told you, like, Louisville's going to be a playoff team, but if I told you, like, you're not going to be able to compete with Louisville, I mean, that's ludicrous.
And Louisville was just horrible. So,
I mean,
you got a
Stanford's
chance
nothing anymore. Virginia's, Clemson could be good. Syracuse is on the come, but they're not ever going to be. They shouldn't be better than you.
But even at their best, they're not 21 points better than you.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has no reason to be better than you. Florida State probably will be most years. Duke, Miami's better than you. And then Pitt, North Carolina, SMU, Virginia Tech, California, NC State, and Wake Forest.
I'd forgotten about Miami. Miami has the Heisman Trophy finalist at quarterback this year. They're good.
They are very good this year. Yeah, they're better than you. They're a much better team than you.
That's one team. Louisville's probably better. But
I'm talking about in 3 years when he can recruit his own players. There's no one on there it's not ridiculous that you.
Yeah,
win the
you get
ACC.
the outliers. You know the good years from Duke and North Carolina. Although North Carolina had 70 hung on them by James Madison.
Yes, exactly.
Holy crap!
Yeah, well, you can't listen. James Madison's a can-do.
But more to your point, Bill O'Brien's living his best life. He just stepped back into the state he grew up in. He's right down the street from BC. He's got him off to a good start. You know, people are beginning to take notice. Recruits, if he wins 8 games this year, which is certainly possible, will begin to take notice. And son of a bitch, people might actually care about college football in this area. Be great.
It was certainly enough to sell that place out every game.
Yeah.
That will certainly be the case. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with our award-winning email segment.
This is how Boston sports fans start their day. Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and there's ways to get in touch with us and get your email read on the air. And since we've been doing this, I've been inundated with email more than usual, so I apologize if I've not gotten back to you. In fact, there's someone I'm going to get back to right after this is over. But that's the idea. Hardy gets back to everyone because he wants to be everyone's best friend.
I've been bad at it lately.
Yeah, now that you're on a big-time show,
no,
it's not so easy anymore, is it?
I've been doing a pretty good job of it, but I've fallen off in the last, I don't know, few weeks. So I got to catch up over the weekend.
Yeah, now that you're in the big leagues, not so easy anymore, huh? Now that you're on a phenomenon, it's not as easy. JON at 985thesportshub.com, Hardy at 985thesportshub.com, Toucher at 985thesportshub.com, and please follow us on Instagram at Toucher and Hardy. I mean, Jesus Christ, please. And Twitter at Toucher and Hardy, and you can follow me on Instagram at Fred Toucher, and for every follow, I get this rush of dopamine. And I've been told that once I get to a certain amount of followers, I just start coasting from there.
Well, what do the followers get?
Paper served to them when I try to steal it.
Okay.
And then you can follow Hardy at Hardy985. Russell says, did you guys hear the cackle in the Edelman podcast? Sounds exactly like Fred's cackle. Love you guys. That's from Russ. I've noticed that when the show first started in like 2006, I would cackle at a lot of stuff, and I don't know what's happened to me because I rarely laugh out loud at anything anymore, even stuff that I find really funny.
You've lost your sense of joy?
Is that possible? Or was I trying so hard to get over back in 2006 that I was kind of willing myself to have like a phony cackle?
I think after a while, you start to approach things funny as being almost like a serious pursuit, not to get like all comedy podcast about it. When guys sit around and they talk about it, they take comedy really, really seriously. But sometimes if something's really, really funny, I think you and I both do this. You just kind of nod your head and they're like, "Yep."
Yeah, I rare, and the stuff that I laugh hysterically at is generally quite dumb. Like it's really dumb, easy stuff that gets me going real hard.
Well, when we had Bird and nice, we had Bird and Robbie Roadsteamer in for the debate a couple of weeks ago. I noticed like that was, you were legitimately entertained by that, and I keep track of these things too, Fred. I always the benchmark of a bit or a moment being funny is, did it make Fred laugh? Like legitimately laugh.
But that's almost an unfair metric, because if I know something is supposed to be funny, it's not going to hit me as hard.
That's fair.
Like when there's someone that's doing something unexpected, that's when you'll get a shocked laugh.
That's mirth.
That's
mirth.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the name of my band, Sunny Day Mirth Estate. Kevin says, thanks, Fred, for the past 2 weeks. You're welcome, Kevin. Bringing the old crew back together. You took me back to a time my life was simple. WBCN days. Adam 12, afternoon. Got me through working my days, 10 to 10. Keep up the good work. Bring Adolfo back. And I never knew this much about Adam 12.
Sorry.
S is great. Love you.
Thank you.
It's interesting.
It is a family environment now that 12 is here.
We get a lot of emails about Adolfo. This one from Zach.
It's amazing, yeah.
Cubba-dubba-doo.
Thank you.
It was great to hear our old friend Adolfo this week. Perhaps this is the start of an annual tradition. Much like Discovery Channel's Shark Week or the National Park Service Fat Bear Week, I don't know what that is, the Sports Hub can have Adolfo Week. Needless to say, we could use a small dose of Adolfo from time to time to brighten our day. Cherish the memories, Zach in New Hampshire.
Well, I got good news for everyone, because Adolfo's schedule and where his whereabouts are pretty much up in the air. He's asked me, like he's given me very specific times he can see me this weekend, which I don't know if I can meet, given that I have a life as well. I have already told Adolfo that I will fly him back.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like maybe a summertime experience, Adolfo week.
Oh, I think before then. I mean, like late winter, early spring, bring Adolfo back.
Okay.
Not even really for the air so much as I didn't bring him back this time for the air. And he'll tell you, like, I didn't go like, hey, Adolfo, come back and be on the air with us. I said, come back. And I said, do you want to be on the air? The reason I put him in a hotel in Waltham is because it was the cheapest thing within like a decent access to the city. Because I was not, and it was $200, $220 a night.
Oh.
That was the cheapest hotel I could find. There was something in Framingham that looked very, very sketchy.
Well, now we're entering my neighborhood. What are we talking about here?
It was like a motel, and it looked like that Adolfo would have been asked to do things for money, and I did not feel uncomfortable to putting Adolfo in that situation.
Yeah.
So I didn't ask him to come on the air. He wanted to come in every day. All right, go ahead.
Adolfo mentioned Jim's Deli when he was here earlier. Rob emailed in. He said, Hardy, I'm doing a job in Brighton for the past few months. Just found Jim's Deli a week or two ago. That place is good. Had to tell you, you put it perfectly, because I've never had a bad meal from there. Love the place.
Yeah,
it's one of those places like all the food is good. What's good here? Everything. Everything's good.
Well, yeah, they do test your will with the meal of the day. Like you had Franks and beans, and
which I haven't eaten as an adult, or even as a kid all that much anywhere else. But it looked and smelled so good. I'm like, yeah, I'll go ahead and try that. Amazing.
That's something they would serve in prison, and you paid for the privilege. And the menu might have 50 things on it. More, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Like Jim's Deli, you can get breakfast at any time. They have like sandwiches. They have like everything. It's open, really early in the morning until dinner time. And yet you saw a pile of baked beans in hot dog chunks. And you said, I will have that. Have you ever had Franks and beans, John?
Yes.
I have
had it a lot when I was a kid.
I have not, and there was a time, 1 year of my life, where I only ate cereal and hot dogs.
That was a staple of my household when I was a kid. Meatloaf was another one. Those were the two big ones when I was a kid.
Could you be any less Jewish? My God. No wonder you weren't bar mitzvahed.
Bacon cheeseburgers.
I know, Jesus.
Lobster.
Like you had the most goyish house of all time.
Yeah.
You lived in Lexington.
What can I tell you?
You turned your back on your. When did your family first turn their back on everything? Did you even pretend to be Jewish? You had meatloaf and Frankenbeans.
I did.
It's like the most goyish.
Juxtapose that for the trip to Long Island, to Jericho, New York, where we had lox and bagels every morning.
Yeah, and you went to and that's even like whatever, right? Like that's like it's whatever, like stereotypical or whatever.
Yes.
But like I'm not even being stereotypical. I'm like saying like that's the most goyish thing.
I know.
You know it is too.
I know
and you
it
went to
is.
Camp Young Judea.
My dad and I would.
Hey, just real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt you. When you went to Camp Young Judea, they obviously had Seder, right?
Yes.
Were you like, what's going on?
I was sitting in the back. I had no idea what was going on.
I figure it.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Friday services, Friday night and Saturday morning.
It's the same thing with Milo. Stephanie was like, there's this camp, and she's like, but it's not like a Jewish camp. And I'm like, okay. I didn't care, right? And then I go to the website, and there's a big Israeli flag. Is like the first thing you see. They would put up an American and Israeli flag every day.
We played Bowercrest in sports every summer.
It was Bowercrest, and so now I can't get into it, but yeah.
What was it like growing up Jewish, John? Oh, it was great. My dad and I would go deer hunting and then come home for a shrimp boil.
Exactly, yeah. We would go hunt hog and then see how many pieces of cheese we could fit onto it when we got home.
Yeah, just typical Jewish upbringing.
We turned on every light on Friday. We would just go around the neighborhood and set off motion lights.
We put up our decorations November 15th.
We'd go to the neighbors and they'd pay us to turn on the oven. Because aren't there families that on Friday nights they technically can't turn on the lights, so they'll have what is like a house goyim or something?
During Shabbat, yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
I think we need to find the video of Fred breakdancing at the mall and put it up with the video of the Australian women's breakdancer from the Olympics and then vote on who did it better. Also, shout out to Hardy's George Wright hat from yesterday. That is from Daniel Winters. So
I think Daniel might have insulted me on Instagram Because there was someone who liked your George Wright hat that did not care for me.
Oh.
So I wonder if that's the same person.
He seems to be okay with
or
it,
if just a lot of people liked your George Wright hat.
A lot of people like that George Wright hat. My wife liked it. I bring home a hat, and she doesn't care, but she saw that hat. She said, "Oh, I like that hat." So, what does that tell you?
Did you put it on her and then go like, "Let's pretend you're Scotty Scheffler"?
I said, "Why don't you wear this hat and put on a flannel? Take those heels off. Put some sneakers on. There you go."
And now,
like
come
you
over from next door.
I like you to dress down.
Yeah, real plain.
Now go outside and ring the doorbell.
She knows.
What are you doing here?
It's like Hardy has this cult, and you show up, and it's like all the dudes are wearing Titleist stuff, and all the girls are in long button downs and slacks.
Yeah.
Doc Martens. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds all right. You're not going to smoke alone. Adolfo just loved me telling him that I was going to bring him back here. Fred, your Adolfo impression sounds like a sped-up James Stewart impression. I can only do so many things with my throat.
The Adolfo impression came first. That was.
Oh, yeah,
that's
well, I didn't know
something
James.
That's something. If you're new to the show, the Adolfo impression came first.
This is one. Adam, Freddie T. Speaking of Family Matters, have you watched the Family Matters episode, The Dark Side of Comedy on Hulu? I have. Basically discussed how Judy Winslow, a.k.a. Crave, got a raw deal, and how Urkel basically ruined the show for her, and the cast hated him. Also, the actor who played Eddie Winslow was always typecast as Eddie and couldn't be considered a serious actor for any other roles. They talk about some other things like Stefan Urkel, Myrtle Urkel, and the terrible writing in later seasons. It's a pretty good watch. Love you. Adam from Maine. Adam, I did watch that. And one of the girls did go into pornography, and the kid that played Eddie had some problems with crime. And Urkel was supposed to be a one-off thing, and they fell in love with him, and he ruined everything. And it was supposed to be about a working-class black family, and then it became like a science fiction show about like some stereotypical nerd, and to the pleasure of no one, including the kid that played Urkel, Jaleel White.
I didn't care for it.
Well, I suppose now he's not a big fan of.
Yeah.
And I think he was probably really actually comedically gifted. Like he obviously was like a good comedic actor. But then it's not his fault. They just had him doing such ridiculous stuff. You ever see the Key and Peele sketch where Urkel comes into Mr. Winslow, like in real life, like the guy comes in and says that he wants to switch the script?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's
I'll look that
fantastic.
up.
Oh, do so in the break.
Okay.
Key and Peele Family Matters. It's on YouTube. It's a guaranteed laugh.
All right.
I guarantee you'll laugh. Fred, you are a curator of taste. Thank you, audience.
JB in Woburn says, let me preface this by saying I've listened to Adam 12 on all of the Boston radio stations.
That he's ruined.
That he's ruined. From FNX to BCN to now. Adam 12 is great, but Jazz sucks. He sounds like the guy from I Think You Should Leave sketch. P.S. Don't heat up the gazpacho.
Yeah,
I hope I'm not that insufferable. By the way, congratulations on getting your email read on the air. Well done. And thanks for listening.
Have you ever considered a ponytail?
No.
Okay.
I had a mullet, though, a killer mullet back in the day.
Yeah, it
with
doesn't.
lines in the side.
Yeah, but that doesn't stand to the way I want to stereotype you.
The mullet's back.
The character I want you to be would not have a mullet. It would have a ponytail.
Yeah, like the guy,
Yeah,
Tydecker.
like if you were going to do anything with a ponytail.
Burn my lip.
Or you could wear one of those Boston caps around.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You could do that. All right.
That's not far off. He's gonna take it for a spin. You have before.
I haven't brought my old timey baseball hats in yet. Wait till that happens.
Please don't.
Yeah, I have
Please
to
don't.
because there's one that's relevant.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have anything else?
Nope.
All right. Let's do everyone a favor and go to headlines. And when we come back, we'll steer this sumbitch home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bring it into the
headlines. Don't cut me off, you son of a bitch. What do you think? What are you doing?
Hitting the button too early. Getting you back for cutting John's mic off earlier.
I did not. I potted him up. How dare you? Jonathan, you know what, Jonathan? I'm sorry that it started this
Was
way.
it your fault or was it Adam's fault?
No. Oh, your mic not being up was not my fault. I put your mic up because
We both did it at the same time earlier, and that's what made it glitch out.
No, that's actually not true. I was talking to Hardy, and we realized you couldn't get on the air, so I potted you up. Your pot was on, but not up. I swear to God, that's
No,
what
no,
happened.
but I was doing the same thing in here, and that's when we're both doing it. It
Whoa,
makes
whoa,
the
whoa,
thing
whoa,
go,
whoa,
"Ooh."
whoa, 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 whoa. Back off, Tiger. All right, very good. You go. You do what you do, John. Don't worry. Don't mind me.
All right, Patriots visit San Francisco this Sunday.
Home team, baby.
Starters on the left side of the
11 on one side, 11 on the other.
Patriots will visit San Francisco this coming Sunday. But Darian Lowe and Michael Jordan missed their second straight practice yesterday, along with defensive back Alex Austin, 49.
Practice. We're talking about practice.
Debo Samuel, their workout, he missed on Wednesday. Bruins suffered a 5-2 preseason road loss to the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden last night. Bruins are 1-2 in preseason play. They play again tomorrow night in Philadelphia. Red Sox had their final night off of the season last night. They wrapped things up with a 3-game weekend series against Tampa Bay. That's tonight, and it all starts at 7 o'clock at Fenway Park. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the New England Revolution. Be there Saturday night at Gillette Stadium for the penultimate match of the regular season when the New England Revolution take on Nashville SC. Kickoff set for 7:30. Get your tickets now at revolutionsoccer.net. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 10 o'clock.
kind of looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy as we wind this very special week down. A lot of people very excited.
3 important things to get to. We got to get to all 3 of them.
Let's
Two
go.
of them are concert related. Number 1, Oasis reuniting, playing all these shows in the UK. International dates not yet announced, but the cities have been unveiled for a 2025 reunion tour. Boston is on the list, along with Toronto, Chicago, East Rutherford, LA, Mexico City. They'll also be playing international dates in Seoul, Tokyo, Melbourne, and whatnot. So, Oasis reuniting, coming to Boston. Fred, I know you'll be there.
I might go.
I would actually go.
I've
but
never
the tickets are going to be insane.
Which venue, though?
It's going to be at Gillette.
Does Boston mean Gillette Stadium?
Yes.
Okay.
It's going to be at Gillette.
Okay. Because you remember the initial unveiling when they said they were going to get back together on that quick photo that everyone saw. There were dates.
They're not coming to
Boston.
Boston. If they're playing East Rutherford, they're playing MetLife. There's no way they're playing MetLife and turning around and coming to Boston and not playing the stadium. I mean, they are.
Okay.
I probably won't go, actually. If they were playing the Garden, I'd go. It's too much. A stadium show is, I feel like a chump giving money to people to watch dots play with bad sound.
The Metallica in the round was pretty cool, and we had decent seats. We were in the lower bowl, but it's still it's a ways away.
Yeah, I'm
They're
not
not
gonna.
close.
Yeah, I'm not. I probably actually won't. I'd like to see Oasis, but not enough to see them at a stadium.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a reach for me.
The other big lineup announced for 2025: Creed's Summer of '99 Beyond Festival Cruise, featuring Creed, of course, Seven Dust,
Hepatitis,
Lit, Hinder, and The Stank. Hoobastank is on the bill.
Yeah, Hoobastank not performing as so much as they will be cleaning tables.
Some of the other bands, I mean, Alien Ant Farm, Fuel, Filter.
Okay, here's what's funny
Local
about 90s
H?
music. Alien Ant Farm was a good band and should have been much bigger, but their label screwed them by putting out Smooth Criminal and making them seem like a joke. And their bass player didn't do them any favors by like acting the fool during the videos like a cutesy fat guy. And there's nothing more annoying in a band than a cutesy fat guy with a beard. All of you, if your avatar is a cutesy fat guy with a beard, like with a silly little smile on your face, boo.
Now,
and Fuel were the biggest band in alternative radio. I can't figure out why Fuel, they were 99X.
Everybody played them.
Heritage Rock Station in Atlanta. Hemorrhage in My Hands was the song that in the history of 99X was played the most, and it wasn't very close. And Shimmer was probably top 10.
Yeah. Now, most importantly, your host for this cruise,
Eddie Trunk,
along with Katie Babbs, my former co-worker on Sirius XM Turbo. So,
what is the point of Eddie Trunk? He was just in Japan with Sammy Hagar, and my point is this: like, could Sammy Hagar not sell out the place in Japan unless Eddie Trunk was with him? We need a guy with the jeans and an untucked button-down on.
Could
he please come in?
You need someone you can trust. He's like the Walter Cronkite of butt rock.
Well, Eddie, a guy called in Eddie's show yesterday, I'll have you know, and said, thank you so much for going on Instagram and putting all these videos up because it felt like I was there. And Eddie said, hey, man, that's what it's all about. I got to go. We're up against the break. Please call in tomorrow.
Wow. Just connecting.
Mm-hmm. And I went, damn it. That guy's got a relationship with his audience.
Finally, this is going to take a couple of minutes. 10 things to do in Boston this weekend. We have to guess whether or not Adam 12 will be able to do them.
Ooh, I like that.
I was just about to ask how many of them are free.
Watch a movie or two at Cinefest Latino Boston. Will Adam 12 be able to do it?
Does it cost money?
Well, that's what you have to guess. Now through this Sunday, Cinefest Latino Boston bringing more than a dozen feature-length and short films to Boston area theaters.
I'm going to guess it does cost money.
So
is
the answer
correct.
was so no. He's
That's
not
correct.
going to
Adam 12 will not be attending Cinefest Latino.
Bummer.
Learn something new at Globe Summit. This week, Boston Globe's journalism will escape the confines of the printed page and break into the real world at Globe Summit 2024, two-day gathering of discussions hosted by Globe journalists, live streamed the entire summit. Will Adam 12 be able to partake?
Well, first of all, it's a trick question because he would get in free, and because of his allegiance to the Globe and his former employment there. But I would hope it's free.
Free for everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna.
I used to work that event.
I'm like, that's a big ask getting anyone to click on a link for, let alone you want money for this. Are you paying me? But I wish journalism. You go. You're the fifth state. Go ahead.
Say Auf Wiedersehen at Aeronaut Alston Oktoberfest.
Oh, because you threw in Alston and
I know.
Is it microbrews?
I'm picking the. You notice I didn't mention Hoistestein at Night Shift Oktoberfest. There's no way 12's going to that one.
No. But there might
Aeronaut
be free
Alston
mugs.
Oktoberfest. The event runs from 1 to 9 p.m.
Well, it's got to cost money if it's got liquor, but it's in Alston. He might know someone playing it.
Oh, so he'd get in. That's a good call.
Live
He
music
could
performances
haul gear.
I didn't even think
by the Hofbrau Spieler Band. And you know anybody in that lineup?
I don't know them.
No, they don't have any songs.
They need a
about
trombone player?
You're not going. You're not going. It's cost is $12. So Adam 12. Maybe they'd let you in, Adam 12,
Yeah.
since it is a $12
That's
admission.
2 hours of
Just
busking.
bring my horn and say I'm with the band.
Yeah.
Fall
Good luck
into
keeping up.
autumn at a High Street Place Fall Fest.
Yes.
No,
yes,
he's definitely
yes,
up for that.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Anything
easy.
with fest at the end, he's in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's in.
Snack healthily at Boston Veg Food Fest.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yes.
Yeah, he's in that.
Hell yes.
Oh, the
Absolutely.
old ladies with jeans and gray hair that they don't die.
Learn about birds and the bees at Mass Audubon's Raptor Festival.
Stay away from that thing.
Wallach,
You're just gonna
you
get
and I.
woken up.
Right?
What's that 12?
I said, Walt, you and I, we got to go to Raptor
That's where they
Fest.
teach them to
wait.
make a racket.
It'd be awesome.
Finally, see local artists at Jamaica Plain Open Studios.
Oh, please, let's be honest. You are going there,
Yeah,
correct?
probably.
You got a busy weekend, 12.
We're not even going to see him. He needs an extra day for all this. We're not going to see him.
And you
until
just did him a
Tuesday.
favor because this, I don't know if all of these are tacked up on the library corkboard.
Well, no, thank you to Boston.com. I mean, he's still got his Boston.com connection.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Great
Because
folks over there.
there's no paywall for Boston.com.
Is
In
there?
the library, when you click at the Woburn Library, it goes right to Boston.com when you turn on the computer.
It's the homepage.
It's the homepage.
There you
Thank you.
go.
That's the correct term. Thank you for. Couldn't come up with it off the top of my head. It's been a long week, ladies and gentlemen, but it's been a fun week. Thank you to Adolfo so much. We love you, Adolfo, and thank you to the audience for being so welcoming and welcoming him back and celebrating our friendship and the friendship he has with all of us. That'll do it with us. For us, 4 o'clock game on Sunday. Hear it here. We'll be back with reactions and Sosi and Reese and everyone else tomorrow. I don't know if we'll have Reese.
Monday.
Monday.
All right, Monday. Well, I'll be in tomorrow. I'm doing a pickleball show.
Nice.